Welcome, dear listeners, to a journey that will take us far beyond the sunny beaches and bustling cities of California. Tonight, we're venturing into the forests, the ancient, shadowed realms where sunlight struggles to pierce the canopy, where paths twist in ways that make you lose your sense of direction, and where the air itself feels heavy with secrets. For every hiker who sees only beauty, there are others who've witnessed something far darker, glowing lights that shouldn't exist, figures watching from between the trees, and voices that call out in the night when no one is there. So settle in, turn down the lights, and let the sound of the wind guide you as we explore 25 extremely creepy and haunted forests in California. Each of these places carries with it terrifying legends, chilling encounters, and hauntings that defy explanation. Just remember, when you walk among the trees, you are never truly alone. The Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve sits quietly amid the rolling hills of Contra Costa County, a place of natural beauty that masks a far darker history. Today, hikers wander its trails, picnickers enjoy its open meadows, and families explore its oak-lined paths. Yet, beneath the serene surface lies a world haunted by the echoes of human suffering, the memory of toil, and the restless spirits of those who once labored in the mines. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, this land was a hub of industry. Coal and sand were extracted from its hills, fueling the growth of nearby towns and cities. Men and boys worked long hours underground, often in hazardous conditions. Their labor indispensable but largely invisible to the outside world. Mines were treacherous, and accidents were common. Caverns explosions and sudden collapses claimed lives with chilling regularity. For many, the mines became a grave, leaving the hills scarred, both physically and spiritually. Even today, those who venture into the preserve sometimes report an unsettling sensation, as if the hills themselves remember the tragedies that occurred within their depths. It begins subtly, a shiver that travels along the spine, a sudden chill even on a sunny afternoon, or the faint scent of smoke and dust carried on the wind. Then come the sounds, distant clinks and strikes that seem to echo from beneath the ground. The unmistakable rhythm of picks and shovels, laboring long after the miners themselves have vanished. These noises are fleeting, almost impossible to trace, but they leave a lingering unease, a sense that the forest is alive with memories, whispering of forgotten toil. The most enduring legend of the preserve is that of the White Witch of the Mines, described as a pale, glowing figure that drifts silently through the oaks and along the old mining roads. She is said to be the restless spirit of a miner's wife, or perhaps a woman who met a tragic fate in the mines herself. Sightings are often accompanied by strange occurrences, lost hikers suddenly finding themselves disoriented, shadows that move in unnatural ways, or a sudden fog rolling across the hills, thick and impenetrable. Witnesses speak of a feeling of being watched, the sensation that someone or something is tracking their every step. Children are not immune to these phenomena. Local lore is rich with stories of youngsters who disappear into sudden fog banks, only to reappear hours later, frightened and unable to explain where they had been. Some return with dirt under their fingernails or marks on their arms, evidence of an unseen journey. Adults who accompany them often report that the children speak in hushed tones about shadowy figures or voices calling from deep within the forest, experiences that defy rational explanation. Many believe that the preserve holds an energy drawn from its violent past, an energy that lingers in the mist and among the twisted oaks, pulling those who wander too far into the echoes of history. Hikers often share encounters that are both subtle and unnerving. One may hear the faint sound of a pick striking stone just as they cross a familiar trail, only to turn around and find no one in sight. Others describe glimpses of a pale figure moving between the trees, so quickly and silently that it seems almost unreal. Some report an oppressive weight settling on their shoulders, an inexplicable pressure that compels them to leave the area quickly. There are stories of lost backpacks, items mysteriously moved, and even inexplicable cold spots that appear out of nowhere, moments that leave visitors questioning the very nature of the preserve itself. For those who remain skeptical, The preserve offers plenty of tangible reminders of its dark past. Old mine entrances, now sealed, hint at the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the hills. Rusted mining equipment and foundations of long-abandoned structures dot the landscape, silent witnesses to the lives and labors of those who once toiled here. These remnants create a setting that is both historically fascinating and atmospherically chilling. Standing near the remnants of a collapsed shaft, it's easy to imagine the miners who disappeared there, and to understand why local folklore has filled in the blanks with stories of ghosts and lingering spirits. The White Witch herself is said to appear most often at dusk or in early morning, when the fog is thickest and the forest is at its quietest. Those who have encountered her describe a figure that glows faintly in the twilight, ethereal and impossibly still. She does not speak, yet her presence is deeply felt, a silent reminder of the suffering endured by those who work the mines, and perhaps a warning to those who enter without respect. Some believe she is protective, guiding the lost out of the hills, while others say she is vengeful, drawn to the tragedy that still resonates through the earth. The Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve is a place of duality. It is at once serene and beautiful, a haven for wildlife and nature enthusiasts. Yet it carries an undercurrent of the supernatural, a reminder that the past is never truly gone. Each trail and hill seems to hum with history, and each sound of shifting branches or distant tapping may be more than the wind. Visitors leave the preserve carrying a sense of awe and unease, haunted not only by the forest itself, but by the knowledge that the land remembers, and that some part of history refuses to rest. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, the preserve leaves a lasting impression. The stories of the White Witch, the vanished children, and the spectral miners have been told and retold, each account reinforcing the eerie reputation of the land. It is a place that invites exploration, but demands respect, where the natural world and the supernatural intersect, and where every step might take you closer to the echoes of a long-forgotten tragedy. In the end, the Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve is more than just a historical site or a hiking destination. It is a living memorial, a landscape where the past refuses to fade, and where the line between the natural and the supernatural blurs. Those who visit may come seeking fresh air and scenic views, but they leave with something far more unforgettable. A glimpse into a world where history, legend, and ghostly presence intertwine, and where the mines and the miners remain forever alive in the mist and shadows of the hills. Griffith Park, one of Los Angeles' most famous urban green spaces, stretches across thousands of acres of rolling hills and winding trails, offering breathtaking views of the city below. Tourists flock to the observatory, joggers trace its paths, and families picnic beneath the sprawling oaks. But beneath its sunlit facade lies a history drenched in betrayal, sorrow, and lingering spectral activity. While the park dazzles with its beauty, it has long been whispered that some corners of Griffith Park are far from welcoming, harboring the restless spirits of the past. The story begins in the 19th century, during a time when California was transitioning from Mexican to American control. Don Antonio Feliz, a wealthy landowner, laid claim to the lands that would eventually become Griffith Park. But the acquisition was not straightforward. Historical records and local legends suggest that Don Antonio betrayed Donna Petronilla, a woman of prominence in the area, tricking her out of her rightful inheritance. The injustice was swift and ruthless, leaving Petronilla destitute and heartbroken. Yet legend tells that she did not accept this betrayal quietly. Before her death, she cursed the land, proclaiming that misfortune would forever haunt the property and that those who walked its hills would feel the weight of her anger. The curse, according to lore, manifested almost immediately. Don Antonio Feliz, once vibrant and prosperous, began to wither away. Misfortune clung to him, and his holdings suffered setbacks that no reasonable explanation could fully account for. Residents of the surrounding areas noticed strange occurrences on the land he claimed. Livestock perished unexpectedly, crops failed, and travelers reported an unshakable feeling of unease when passing through the hills. And the park became known as a place where the natural and supernatural intertwine. Modern visitors to Griffith Park occasionally experience remnants of this ancient curse. Hikers report an overwhelming sensation of being watched, even when the trail seems empty. Some speak of shadowy figures darting between trees or along the ridges, forms that resemble horsemen galloping silently across the hills at dusk, their presence more felt than seen. These figures often appear only at the periphery of vision, vanishing when attention is fully directed toward them. Riders on horseback, too, have shared stories of fleeting silhouettes, of spectral companions appearing and disappearing, as if trapped between worlds. Perhaps the most chilling accounts involve encounters with ghostly women, thought to be manifestations of Dona Petronilla herself. Trailgoers have described glimpses of a pale, veiled figure gliding across the slopes, her laughter carrying on the wind in eerie, melodic bursts. The laughter is distinctive, soft, almost playful, yet chilling in its echo and seems to follow hikers and joggers alike, sometimes continuing long after the figure has vanished. Some witnesses claim that the laughter shifts in tone, from amusement to anger, as though responding to the presence and actions of those who intrude on the land. Nights in the park, especially during dense fog or under the light of a waning moon, are when these phenomena are most frequently reported. The park's dense canyons and secluded ridges seem to amplify these experiences. Many who venture into less traveled areas speak of sudden drops in temperature, unexplained gusts of wind, or the sensation of footsteps trailing behind them. Some report hearing whispered warnings, a voice calling their name, or the faint, sorrowful weeping of a woman lamenting her lost inheritance. Even the park's wildlife sometimes behaves strangely in these areas, with deer and birds appearing unusually still, as if aware of the presence of something unseen. Ghost hunters and paranormal investigators are drawn to Griffith Park for these very reasons. They bring cameras, EMF detectors, and audio recorders, hoping to capture proof of the supernatural. While results are often inconclusive, many swear they have caught fleeting figures on film, or recorded whispers that cannot be explained by the wind or natural ambient noise. There are accounts of electronic devices failing suddenly or lights flickering without cause, occurrences that lend further weight to the idea that something unusual lingers among the hills. Some locals have integrated these tales into cautionary advice. Hikers are warned not to wander alone after dusk, to stay on marked paths, and to respect the land as though it is alive. There is a pervasive belief that Griffith Park is a place where the past clings tightly, where the anger and sorrow of those wronged continue to echo through time. In a city known for its glamour and perpetual daylight, the park offers a rare reminder that history carries weight, and that injustice may leave marks far beyond the life of the one who suffers. Despite tour, perhaps because of its haunted reputation, Griffith Park continues to attract visitors. Some seek the thrill of encountering the supernatural, while others hope to experience the park's beauty and solitude. Whether one encounters the shadowy horseman, the veiled figure of Petronilla, or simply the quiet, uneasy feeling that something unseen watches, it is undeniable that Griffith Park is not merely a recreational space. It is a living testament to history, a landscape where sorrow, betrayal, and lingering spirits intermingle with the everyday rhythms of the living. For those who traverse its trails, the park offers a unique kind of experience. The panoramic views of Los Angeles may dazzle, but the sense of being in a place charged with emotion and residual energy leaves a deeper impression. It is a reminder that beneath the surface of even the most familiar landscapes, the past waits, patient and persistent, shaping the present in ways seen and unseen. Griffith Park stands as both a beautiful refuge and a haunting relic, where every shadow might carry the echo of betrayal, and every breeze might whisper the laughter of a woman wronged, reminding us that history, sorrow, and the supernatural are never far apart. The forests surrounding Mount Shasta rise like a wall of mystery and legend in Northern California. Towering evergreens, thick underbrush, and winding trails create a landscape that feels simultaneously alive and secretive. For those who venture into these woods, the experience is breathtaking. Yet a deep sense of unease often lingers, as though the forest itself is aware of every footstep. Beneath the beauty lies a history steeped in myth, unexplained phenomena, and whispers of the supernatural. Mount Shasta has long been considered a spiritual and mystical center, drawing attention from Native American tribes, explorers, and later, seekers of the esoteric. Indigenous peoples regarded the mountain as sacred, a place where the physical world intersected with the spiritual. Over time, stories of mysterious lights, sudden mists, and odd sounds in the surrounding forests began to circulate, reinforcing the mountain's reputation as a gateway to realms beyond comprehension. Among the most persistent legends is that of the Lemurians, an ancient civilization said to dwell beneath Mount Shasta. According to lore, these beings escaped a sunken continent and established subterranean cities beneath the mountain, their technology and wisdom far surpassing human understanding. Campers and hikers claim to have glimpsed strange phenomena that suggest their continued presence. Flickering lights between trees that vanish when approached, strange geometric formations carved into stones, and even humanoid shadows slipping silently behind them. These shadow people rarely make contact, but their watchful presence is unnerving, leaving an unshakable sense that someone or something is observing. Campers in the Mount Shasta forests often report waking to bizarre occurrences. One common account involves hearing chanting in languages unknown, echoing from deep within the woods. The voices rise and fall with the wind, sounding simultaneously distant and alarmingly close. Some describe the chanting as rhythmic, almost ritualistic, yet no one is ever visible. Items left on campgrounds, tents, backpacks, even food sometimes appear displaced or mysteriously altered, as if unseen entities have interacted with them. The sense of being watched persists, and sleep is often restless, disturbed by shadows moving just beyond the edge of the firelight. Hikers frequently tell stories of sudden mists that roll in from the mountain slopes without warning. These fogs are dense, cold, and disorienting, capable of making familiar trails unrecognizable. Several missing persons cases have been linked to these events, with individuals disappearing only to reappear days later, disoriented and unable to recall where they had been. Some claim that those who vanish briefly enter other realms, guided or claimed by forces tied to the mountain itself. Others suggest that the forest's energy is more predatory. The Mount Shasta hungers for the living to trespass too close to its hidden secrets. Even daylight offers little comfort, lights with no source, and shadows that defy logical explanation. Some visitors report sudden temperature drops, strange electrical interference, or the sensation of pressure against their chest. Animals, too, behave oddly in these areas. Birds become unusually silent, and deer or other wildlife may freeze, staring fixedly into the woods with what seems like unnatural awareness. Those who pay attention often feel an intelligence behind these occurrences, a presence attuned to their very thoughts. The legend of portals beneath Mount Shasta has fueled much speculation. Some say the forests contain hidden entrances to the Lemurian cities, accessible only to those chosen or, perhaps tested by the mountain. Explorers and thrill seekers report strange rock formations that resemble doorways or arches, sometimes accompanied by low-frequency vibrations felt through the ground. A few brave souls claim to have glimpsed glowing underground chambers during rare clearings, only to return to the surface hours later, unsure whether the experience was real or a dream. Such stories have persisted for decades, attracting new visitors eager to witness the unexplained for themselves. Local accounts also speak of encounters with ghostly figures, often described as tall, humanoid shapes with elongated limbs or indistinct faces. These entities appear without warning, gliding silently through the forest, then vanishing without trace. Hikers often report a profound psychological effect, anxiety, vertigo, and an overwhelming sense of being in the presence of something ancient and beyond comprehension. The feeling is not hostile in a conventional sense, but deeply alien, as if the forest itself is communicating through subtle fear and awe. The Mount Shasta forests are home not only to these supernatural occurrences, but also to an air of sacred reverence. Many who visit speak of a palpable energy, a sensation that the forest is alive in ways that go beyond simple ecology. Even the wind seems to carry messages, rustling leaves, groaning branches, and the distant sound of water flowing in directions impossible to trace. For spiritual seekers, these phenomena may feel protective, guiding them through lessons of humility and respect. For skeptics, the experiences are chilling reminders that some parts of the natural world remain inexplicably dangerous. Over the years, these forests have drawn scientists, paranormal investigators, and spiritual explorers alike. While empirical evidence is often elusive, the consistency of personal accounts across decades lends credibility to the idea that Mount Shasta is more than just a mountain, and its surrounding woods is a nexus of energy, a threshold between worlds. Hikers who approach with caution often leave with a sense of awe, while those who disregard the legends may find themselves forever marked by the experience. Ultimately, the forests of Mount Shasta invite exploration but demand respect. Every rustle, every flicker of light, every shadow may carry significance. To walk among these trees is to enter a living narrative of ancient civilization, spiritual presence, and natural mystery. Whether the forest conceals portals to other worlds, shelters unseen watchers, or simply preserves echoes of history, it is a place that will not easily let its secrets go. Walking beneath the towering redwoods of Northern California is like stepping into another world. These ancient giants, some thousands of years old, rise so high that sunlight barely reaches the forest floor, and the air carries the scent of damp earth and cedar. Visitors often describe a sense of reverence, a feeling that they are witnessing something timeless and sacred. Yet, alongside this natural beauty, the forests harbor an unsettling energy and undercurrent that has intrigued and terrified locals, hikers, and paranormal enthusiasts for generations. The forest's eerie reputation dates back to the logging era of the 19th and early 20th centuries. Men came with axes and saws to harvest these massive trees, and while they made their livelihoods, the work was grueling and often deadly. Accidents were frequent, and countless loggers perished in the dense forests. Some say their spirits never left the woods, and that the echoes of their labor still linger among the trunks. Rangers and park staff have long whispered of ghostly loggers, their shadows stretching impossibly long at dusk, wielding axes as if still attempting to fell the mighty redwoods. Those who witness them often report an overwhelming sense of sorrow and unfinished work, as if the spirits are forever bound to their tasks. Hikers frequently report being stalked by phantom footsteps that mirror their own pace no matter where they turn. Many recount the experience of pausing to check their surroundings, only to find the forest silent, empty, and utterly still. Yet, when they resume walking, the sounds begin again, matching every step. Some who have ventured off marked trails report hearing the clatter of falling logs or the groan of timber bending under invisible weight, sounds that cannot be attributed to any natural cause. These auditory experiences are often accompanied by an inexplicable feeling of being watched, a prickling awareness that something unseen is tracking them through the forest. At night, the forests become even more otherworldly. Visitors have described seeing small, dancing lights weaving through the upper canopy, sometimes flickering like fireflies, but moving too deliberately and at heights that defy natural explanation. In the fog-laden valleys, guttural growls and low resonant rumbles occasionally echo between the trees, unsettling even the most seasoned hikers. Some claim these sounds are not of any known animal, that the vibrations seem to come from deep within the woods themselves, resonating through the massive trunks and leaving a sensation of unease in the chest. Several accounts suggest that the redwoods themselves may be sentient in some way, or at least imbued with a consciousness that reacts to human intrusion. People describe sudden chills, inexplicable pressure, and the sensation that the air itself is watching. Cameras occasionally fail in certain spots. Recording devices pick up unidentifiable voices, and compasses sometimes behave erratically, leading some to speculate that the forest is layered with a strange energy, a mix of natural and supernatural forces that refuse to be understood. Even experienced rangers who patrol the parks admit to experiencing the uncanny. Some have reported seeing figures move quickly between the trunks, glimpses of men in old logging attire that vanish before they can be fully observed. Others have found tools lying in clearings, perfectly clean and arranged as if someone had recently used them, despite being deep in areas closed to public access. These incidents are often written off as tricks of the light or misinterpretations of shadows. But the consistency of the reports over decades suggests something more. The land itself seems to preserve memories, a spectral echo of the human labor and loss it has witnessed over centuries. Local legends also speak of entire areas of the forest that are cursed or off-limits to those who are unfamiliar. Hikers who stray too far into these regions report disorientation, sudden weather changes, and fleeting glimpses of figures in the corner of their eyes. Some return hours later with no memory of how far they have walked, or with an inexplicable dread that clings to them long after leaving. Others report seeing the silhouettes of massive beasts moving silently through the fog, creatures whose size and shape are impossible to discern. Whether these beings are spirits of the long-dead loggers, guardians of the forest, or something else entirely, remains a mystery. The forest's dense fogs and shifting shadows seem to enhance the sense of the uncanny. A visitor might pause at a small clearing, only to feel a weight on their chest or hear a whisper in a language they do not recognize. Sounds of snapping branches and shifting underbrush often accompany the sensation of being observed. While some researchers attribute these experiences to heightened senses and the forest's unique acoustics, others are convinced that the redwoods themselves act as a kind of portal between worlds, bridging the living with the lingering presence of the dead. Despite these unnerving experiences, the parks continue to draw visitors who are captivated by their majesty and mystery. The redwoods offer a rare glimpse into a world that has endured for millennia, a forest untouched by most of modern civilization. And yet, for those who pay close attention, it is impossible to ignore the subtle signs that the past lingers here, not just in the remains of old logging camps or fallen trees, but in the sounds, shadows, and unshakable feelings that have persisted through generations. Walking through Redwood National and State Parks is to walk among giants that remember. Every creaking bough, every flicker of light, every echo of a distant growl carries the weight of history, labor, and lingering souls. The forest is alive in more ways than one. Alive with trees, with animals, and with the unseen presence of those who never left. It is a place where beauty and terror intertwine, where every step may bring a glimpse into another world, and where the past whispers constantly through the redwood giants. For those who visit, the forests offer both awe and caution. The towering trees, the misty valleys, and the sprawling trails are inviting, yet the energy that hums beneath the surface cannot be ignored. Many leave the redwoods changed, carrying a sense of wonder intertwined with unease, a quiet knowledge that some part of the forest is watching, remembering, and perhaps waiting. The redwoods are not simply trees, they are witnesses, guardians, and vessels of the spectral past, forever entwined with the mysterious and the unexplained. Joshua Tree National Park, sprawling across San Bernardino and Riverside counties, is a landscape of striking contrasts. By day, its jagged rock formations, vast desert expanses, and iconic Joshua trees offer breathtaking views. By night, the park transforms into a shadowy, almost otherworldly realm, where twisted groves and rocky outcrops take on eerie, almost human shapes under the moonlight. Visitors often remark on the uncanny atmosphere, a sense that the desert itself is watching, and that the land carries secrets far older and darker than the sun-bleached terrain suggests. Long before modern explorers and tourists arrived, the indigenous peoples of the region regarded the Joshua Tree Desert as sacred. They believed the land served as a threshold between the living world and the spirit realm. Certain rock formations were seen as portals, and rituals performed that were meant to communicate with ancestral spirits or seek guidance from forces beyond human understanding. Even today, the desert hums with the echoes of those ancient practices. Travelers report fleeting glimpses of figures moving in unnatural ways, shadows flitting across rock faces, or the sensation of being drawn toward places that feel charged with energy. In more recent decades, the park has gained a reputation for occult activity. Visitors sometimes stumble across makeshift altars, carved stones, and symbols etched into rock's remnants of rituals conducted by individuals seeking mystical power or connection with the supernatural. Many of these symbols are cryptic, their meanings obscured, but they give the landscape an additional layer of menace. Campers have described hearing chanting in strange languages that seem to emanate from nowhere, voices rising and falling as if carried on a desert wind that knows no origin. The sound is often hypnotic and unnerving, drawing the listener toward the rocky labyrinths of the park. Hooded figures are a common feature of the park's supernatural lore. Many accounts speak of shadowy silhouettes moving with purpose among the rocks, only to vanish when approached. Some visitors report watching these figures for minutes, unable to comprehend how they disappear so completely. Others have experienced the terrifying sensation of being followed, yet when they turn, the desert appears empty. There is a consistency to these sightings that has kept local legends alive, suggesting that some force, whether spectral, mystical, or otherwise, remains active in these barren lands. Perhaps the most disturbing stories involve people who simply vanish. Several campers have disappeared while exploring remote sections of the park, leaving behind personal belongings, tents, and even food untouched. In some cases, stone circles or other formations appear nearby, as if the desert itself has claimed the missing. Survivors, when found or returned, speak of losing hours or even days without memory of where they had been. Theories abound. Some suggest the desert contains portals to other realms, while others insist it is the site of a curse, laid down by either indigenous spirits or modern occult practitioners. Regardless of explanation, these disappearances have only heightened the park's reputation as a place where the natural and supernatural collide. Visitors who explore Joshua Tree often describe a feeling of being watched, a tension that cannot be easily explained. Animals seem to sense it as well. Rattlesnakes appear in unusual places. Birds fall silent for stretches of time, and desert creatures seem to vanish as visitors approach. Some hikers speak of sudden chills, unexplained shadows, or the sensation that the very ground beneath their feet is shifting, leading them toward places they had no intention of visiting. The desert, though open and exposed, becomes claustrophobic under the influence of this invisible presence. Strange lights are also a recurring phenomenon. Campers frequently report seeing flickering glows on the horizon or hovering above jagged rocks, sometimes moving with apparent intelligence. These lights do not resemble conventional lanterns or vehicles. They behave unpredictably, disappearing when approached and reappearing elsewhere. Some theorists connect these occurrences to UFO sightings, while others insist they are manifestations of the supernatural energy said to inhabit the park. Whatever the source, they add to the feeling that Joshua Tree is alive with forces beyond human comprehension. The combination of natural beauty and supernatural menace creates a unique atmosphere. By day, hikers may feel invigorated, enchanted by the unusual flora, sprawling vistas, and quiet solitude. By night, the desert becomes a liminal space, a place where shadows stretch unnaturally, trees seem almost humanoid, and silence carries a weight that is impossible to ignore. It is in these twilight hours that most reports of paranormal activity occur. Voices, figures, glowing orbs, and the occasional, terrifying disappearance. Despite its reputation, Joshua Tree continues to attract visitors from around the world, drawn by both its stark natural beauty and its chilling mysteries. Campers, hikers, and seekers of the supernatural venture into its wilderness with caution, knowing the legends and aware of the stories of those who vanished before them. The park's reputation is part of its allure, a reminder that even in a landscape that seems empty, the past and the supernatural may be watching, waiting, and influencing what happens in the present. Joshua Tree National Park is more than just a desert. It is a crossroads of history, mysticism, and mystery. The land bears the weight of generations, from indigenous tribes to modern adventurers, each leaving traces that echo across the rocks and sand. It is a place where the natural world intersects with the unknown, where every shadow might hide a figure, every circle of stone could mark a ritual, and every flicker of light may hint at a reality beyond human understanding. To wander its trails is to step into a space alive with both awe and terror, where the desert itself seems to remember, and perhaps even claim, those who venture too far. Big Bear Lake, nestled in the San Bernardino Mountains, is widely celebrated for its recreational charm. Skiers carve through fresh powder in winter, families enjoy cabin getaways, and summer visitors boat along the sparkling waters. Yet beyond the postcard-perfect scenery lies a forest shrouded in mystery, a realm where the natural beauty belies a darker presence. Locals rarely speak of it openly, but whispers of ghostly figures and unexplained phenomena have persisted for generations, giving the surrounding woods a reputation that few dare to ignore. Among the most enduring legends is that of the Lady in Gray. Described as a spectral figure cloaked in a tattered gray dress, she is said to wander the wooded shoreline of Big Bear Lake, appearing most frequently on fog-laden nights. Boaters tell of glimpsing her standing at the water's edge, her pale form illuminated faintly by moonlight or reflected starlight. She is often seen silently beckoning, drawing curious onlookers toward the forest, only to vanish when they attempt to approach. Those who encounter her report a chilling sensation of being watched, a cold presence that seems to seep into the bones, and an eerie compulsion to obey her unspoken call. Hikers along the forest trails also experience strange occurrences. Many describe the sensation of invisible hands tugging at their clothing, brushing their arms, or pulling at backpacks and jackets. These subtle touches are accompanied by an oppressive heaviness in the air, a feeling that the woods themselves are alive and aware of intruders. Even seasoned hikers, accustomed to navigating the rugged terrain, report unease when venturing into these areas after dusk. The trails, once familiar, seem to shift underfoot, bending and twisting in ways that leave visitors disoriented and unsure if they are walking the same path they started on. Perhaps the most unsettling phenomenon involves sounds that cannot be traced to any natural source. Deep in the forest, travelers sometimes hear the cries of lost children, faint and distant yet unmistakably human. The wailing rises and falls, echoing between the pines, only to vanish abruptly as if the voices were never there. Some hikers have attempted to follow the sounds, searching for the source, only to find the forest empty, with no sign of life. The cries leave an indelible impression, instilling fear and sorrow in equal measure, and many speak of leaving the woods feeling as if they had intruded into a space where the living are not welcome. The Lady in Gray and these disembodied sounds have been reported for decades, lending credibility to the idea that the Big Bear forests are home to lingering spirits. The origins of these hauntings are unclear, but locals suggest that the area's history is steeped in tragedy. Early settlers and travelers often met misfortune here, whether through accidents in the dense forest, drownings in the lake, or unexplained disappearances. Over time, these stories evolved, merging with folklore and local legend, producing the spectral presence that persists to this day. Visitors sometimes report additional eerie signs: sudden drops in temperature, flickers of movement at the edge of vision, and strange lights among the treetops. The forest seems to respond to human presence, subtly shifting, closing in, or opening pathways, depending on who dares to venture within. Wildlife behavior also hints at the supernatural. Deer and other animals freeze as if sensing something unseen. Birds fall silent for stretches of trail, and nocturnal sounds, owls, coyotes, the rustling of underbrush, take on an unnatural quality, as if amplified by a consciousness beyond the natural world. Some stories recount more direct encounters. Campers have awakened to find their tents disturbed, belongings moved, and impressions in the dirt that suggest someone or something has passed through. Others describe waking to find faint footprints around their camp, leading into the dense woods, with no footprints returning to mark the exit. These experiences reinforce the belief that the forest is not only haunted, but actively interacts with those who enter, guiding, warning, or perhaps even trapping them. Despite these eerie legends, Big Bear Lake Forest continues to draw visitors from across California and beyond. Hikers, campers, and outdoor enthusiasts are drawn to the region's natural beauty, often unaware of its dark reputation. For those who stumble across its haunted corners, the experience can be transformative, an encounter with the unknown that lingers in memory long after leaving. The Lady in Gray, the invisible hands, and the cries of lost children are reminders that the forest is layered with history and mystery. A place where the line between the living and the spectral is perilously thin. For some, the forest serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder to respect the wilderness and its unseen forces. For others, it is a place of fascination, where curiosity is intertwined with fear, and each visit may offer glimpses of the supernatural. Photographers and paranormal enthusiasts are particularly drawn to the foggy nights and moonlit trails, hoping to capture evidence of the unexplained. Cameras occasionally catch glimpses of shadowy figures, orbs of light, and fleeting shapes among the pines. Though skeptics attribute such phenomena to natural light anomalies, the consistency of eyewitness reports, however, suggests a presence that is difficult to ignore. Ultimately, Big Bear Lake Forest is a place where beauty and terror coexist. The towering pines, the serene lake, and the expansive trails offer a sense of escape and wonder. Yet the forest conceals a darker side, one that hums with history, sorrow, and the unexplained. Every shadow, every rustling branch, and every distant cry serves as a reminder that the woods are alive with something beyond comprehension. Visitors leave the forest carrying not only memories of scenic landscapes, but also an uneasy awareness that the Lady in Gray, the unseen hands, and the echoes of lost children continue to watch over the woods, patient and eternal, guarding the secrets of Big Bear Lake. Pfeiffer Big Sur State Park, perched along California's rugged coastline, is renowned for its breathtaking cliffs, cascading waterfalls, and towering redwoods. Tourists flock to the area for hiking, camping, and the serene beauty of the Pacific Ocean meeting the forested hills. Yet, for all its natural splendor, the park harbors a side less spoken of, a world where the line between the living and the dead seems to blur, and where the fog rolling in from the ocean carries whispers that chill the spine. Visitors frequently report sightings along the forest trails at dusk. Shadowy figures are often glimpsed between the trees, their forms indistinct, yet unnervingly human. Some hikers describe their eyes glowing faintly in the dim half-light, fixed on observers with an intensity that is both mesmerizing and terrifying. These figures vanish when approached, leaving nothing but the impression of movement and the lingering sense that something watched them closely. Campers have told stories of waking to the sound of footsteps circling their tents or faint silhouettes appearing just beyond the firelight, only to dissolve into darkness when examined. Local legends attribute these spectral sightings to settlers and miners who perished in isolation during the early years of Big Sur's colonization. The harsh terrain, coupled with disease, starvation, and accidents, left many lives tragically cut short. Some say these souls linger in the forest, bound to the land where they suffered, unable to move on. Their presence is often subtle. A sudden chill, a fleeting shadow, the sensation of being followed. Yet, some encounters are far more vivid, leaving witnesses shaken and questioning the reality of what they've seen. The fog that rolls in from the ocean is a constant companion to these eerie phenomena. On certain days, the mist creeps through the redwoods and across the trails, transforming the forest into a labyrinth of shifting shapes and muted sounds. Hikers frequently report hearing voices carried on the wind, whispering indistinctly but persistently, urging them to leave or to follow. Those who attempt to locate the source often find nothing. The voices disappear, swallowed by the dense fog, leaving only the echo of what was heard. The effect is disorienting and unnerving, and many describe the fog as having a presence of its own, almost sentient in the way it conceals, distorts, and manipulates perception. Whispers are not the only supernatural phenomenon described. Some hikers have experienced a sensation of being gently guided or nudged off the trail. Steps on dirt paths sometimes feel heavier underfoot, as if invisible hands are influencing movement, redirecting wanderers deeper into the woods. Those who resist report a growing unease, while those who follow often encounter areas of the forest with an almost otherworldly stillness, where birds fall silent and even the wind seems to hold its breath. The forest itself feels alive, attuned to the movements and intentions of those who enter it. Many visitors also describe feeling an overwhelming emotional weight. It is as if the collective sorrow and hardship of long-dead settlers saturate the soil and trees, pressing down on the living. Even without visible apparitions, hikers report sudden melancholy, anxiety, or a deep, inexplicable fear. The combination of ancient redwoods, fog, and the wild, unguarded cliffs of the coastline seems to amplify these sensations, creating an environment that is beautiful, awe-inspiring, and unnervingly charged. The more dramatic encounters often involve direct glimpses of spectral figures. Witnesses recount seeing miners in period attire, trudging along trails that twist impossibly between trees, axes slung over their shoulders, or tools in hand. Settlers are sometimes described carrying baskets, working the forest silently, unaware of the living observers. Some hikers insist that these figures vanish only when looked at directly, suggesting a deliberate concealment or a divide between realms. Photographs occasionally capture faint shapes, blurred figures in the background, yet skeptics argue these images are simply tricks of light and fog. Still, the consistency of eyewitness reports over decades is striking. Pfeiffer, Big Sur State Park also holds stories of warnings embedded in the forest itself. Certain trails are said to be cursed, or particularly haunted, and those who enter them often describe sudden changes in perception. Trees appear closer or farther than they should. Paths twist in impossible directions, and landmarks seem to vanish and reappear elsewhere. The forest, it seems, manipulates space and time subtly, creating an environment where the living must navigate not only physical obstacles, but also the spectral presence that haunts the land. Despite tour perhaps because of its eerie reputation, the park continues to attract visitors, drawn by both its natural beauty and its legends. Hikers, campers, and ghost enthusiasts approach the area with curiosity and caution, aware that the foggy trails and shadowed groves may conceal more than wildlife. Many return with stories of fleeting figures, strange sounds, and the unsettling sensation of having been followed. Some leave with photographs of inexplicable lights or blurred shapes, while others walk away with nothing but the memory of a forest that feels alive, haunted, and ever watchful. Ultimately, Pfeiffer, Big Sur State Park is a place where beauty and unease coexist. The towering redwoods, rugged cliffs, and rolling fog create a landscape that inspires awe. Yet the lingering presence of the past makes clear that not all who enter the forest are alive in the conventional sense. Shadowy figures serve as reminders that human history is written not only in records and ruins, but also in the land itself. Each step along the trails carries the weight of those who came before, and each echo in the mist whispers of lives unfinished, of sorrow and longing, and of the mysterious forces that continue to inhabit the forest. For those who wander these woods, the experience is unforgettable. An encounter with nature's grandeur, intertwined with the spectral and unexplained. Pfeiffer Big Sur State Park is not merely a scenic destination. It is a living, breathing relic of history and legend. A place where every shadow, every rustle, and every whisper might be a glimpse into a world just beyond our own. Elfin Forest, tucked into the hills of Escondido in San Diego County, is more than just a haven for hikers and nature enthusiasts. It is a place steeped in legend, a woodland where the veil between the living and the supernatural feels perilously thin. Visitors who wander its tangled paths often describe an overwhelming sense of unease, as if the very trees are aware of their presence and judging every step. Over generations, these stories have grown, blending indigenous folklore, settler accounts, and modern paranormal observations into a tapestry of eerie phenomena that continues to draw both curious adventurers and seasoned ghost hunters. Long before European settlers arrived, the indigenous peoples of the region regarded the land as cursed. Stories passed down through generations warned of spirits that roamed the dense woods, invisible yet ever present, and advised that those who entered without respect might never return, or return forever changed. The forest's reputation for harboring the supernatural persisted as settlers moved into the area, encountering strange occurrences that defied rational explanation. Even today, hikers often report that the forest exudes a heavy, suffocating atmosphere, one that presses down on the chest and weighs on the mind, a sensation unlike any ordinary hike. Among the most persistent legends is that of spectral riders on horseback. Witnesses describe seeing ghostly figures galloping along hidden trails, their forms translucent and their horses moving with a fluid grace that seems unbound by gravity or terrain. Some claim these riders are dressed in old colonial garb, suggesting spirits of early settlers, while others report figures that appear almost timeless, their features obscured by mist and shadows. Those who catch sight of the riders often feel an inexplicable compulsion to stop, to watch, and yet fear paralyzes them, as if some invisible force demands obedience. When pursued or approached, the figures vanish abruptly, leaving only the sound of hooves fading into the distance or, sometimes, nothing at all. Glowing white figures are another frequent phenomenon. Hikers and residents report seeing ethereal shapes darting between the trees, sometimes moving in unison, sometimes appearing alone. These apparitions are most commonly observed at dusk or in dense fog, their pale forms contrasting sharply with the deep green of the undergrowth. Observers often note that these figures appear aware, watching and reacting to their movements, vanishing only when approached directly. The effect is disorienting, leaving witnesses questioning their own senses and feeling as if the forest itself is alive, actively engaging with them in a way that is impossible to explain. Glowing orbs add to the forest's unsettling reputation. Small luminescent spheres are often seen hovering in the underbrush or drifting silently above the trails. Unlike natural lights or reflections, these orbs move with deliberate purpose, sometimes retreating when approached, other times advancing as if drawn to human presence. Paranormal investigators suggest they are manifestations of residual energy or spirits attempting to communicate, but no definitive explanation exists. The consistent reports of orbs over decades suggest a phenomenon that is persistent and perhaps conscious, further solidifying Elfin Forest's status as one of California's most haunted woodlands. Many visitors describe more subtle, yet equally disturbing, experiences. Sudden cold spots appear without warning, frost-like chills that make the skin prickle even on warm days. Electronics, including cameras, GPS devices, and phones, frequently malfunction or fail entirely in certain parts of the forest, adding to the sense that the woods resist documentation. Hikers have reported feeling the sensation of being stalked, a shadow lingering at the edge of vision that vanishes when confronted. Some even claim to hear whispers, unintelligible but persistent, that seem to emanate from nowhere, urging them to leave or guiding them deeper into the forest's heart. The forest also seems to affect the psychology of those who enter. Many recount sudden feelings of anxiety, disorientation, or a profound sadness that emerges without reason. The atmosphere is thick, heavy, and oppressive, amplifying the fear of unseen presences. Experienced hikers and investigators alike note that time seems to behave oddly within the woods. Minutes may stretch into hours, or trails that should lead back to the entrance twist and curve in ways that confound the mind. This psychological strain adds another layer to the supernatural lore, suggesting that Elfin Forest is as much a mental challenge as a physical one, a place that tests the boundaries between reality and perception. Paranormal investigators are particularly drawn to the area, noting that the density of reported phenomena is unusually high. Cold spots, apparitions, electronic interference, and unexplained sounds are consistently documented. Some theories suggest that the forest sits atop a unique geological formation that amplifies energy. while others believe it is a liminal space where the spiritual and physical worlds intersect. Regardless of the cause, those who enter with curiosity are often confronted with experiences that defy explanation, leaving lasting impressions and stories that are shared widely, perpetuating the forest's haunted reputation. Despite, or perhaps because of its reputation, Elfin Forest continues to attract both hikers and thrill seekers. The combination of natural beauty and supernatural allure creates an experience that is simultaneously mesmerizing and unsettling. Visitors come for the twisted paths, ancient trees, and scenic vistas, but many leave carrying the memory of unseen eyes, flickering lights, and the unmistakable feeling that the forest itself has been aware of their presence all along. The land is alive with history, legend, and lingering spirits, creating a haunting atmosphere that is both unforgettable and disquieting. Elfin Forest is more than just a woodland. It is a place where the past persists, where the land remembers, and where the unseen is a constant companion. Each rustling leaf, every whisper of wind, and every shadow among the trees carries echoes of those who came before. Whether indigenous guardians, settlers, or lingering spirits of unknown origin, to wander these trails is to walk among layers of time, memory, and the unexplained. A journey that challenges perception, evokes awe, and instills a quiet, persistent fear. For those willing to step beneath its canopy, Elfin Forest promises an encounter with the strange, the spectral, and the unforgettably haunted. Angeles National Forest, sprawling across the San Gabriel Mountains, is a place of breathtaking natural beauty. Towering pines, rugged cliffs, and sparkling streams draw hikers, campers, and nature enthusiasts from across Southern California. Yet beneath its serene exterior lies a darker side, one that has earned the forest a reputation as both haunted and cursed. The Angeles is a place where tragedy and mystery intertwine, and where countless visitors have felt an unsettling presence that seems to watch from the shadows. The forest's history is steeped in misfortune. Over the decades, numerous murders, suicides, and mysterious disappearances have occurred along its remote trails. Many of these cases remain unsolved, leaving only unanswered questions and lingering unease. Some believe that the forest itself absorbs this human suffering, storing it in the soil and the trees, creating an environment heavy with sorrow and malevolence. Visitors often report an almost tangible sense of foreboding, a feeling that the woods are aware of their presence and that something unseen moves alongside them. Hikers frequently describe feeling watched, even in areas where no one else is present. Some have the unnerving sensation of being followed, hearing footsteps that echo their own, yet finding no one when they turn. Others recount glimpses of shadowy figures darting between the trees or standing at the edge of a clearing, vanishing when approached. These apparitions vary in form. Some appear as human silhouettes, others as mist-like shapes that shift and shimmer in the dim light. The consistency of such reports across decades has cemented the forest's reputation as a place where the living and the spectral intersect. One of the most chilling phenomena reported in the Angeles is the sound of chanting in the dead of night. Campers and hikers often describe hearing low, rhythmic voices emanating from deep within the forest. The chanting can appear to move through the trees, surrounding those who hear it, and then abruptly cease, leaving only silence and the pounding of their own hearts. Some who have investigated these sounds claim that the voices are not human, that they belong to entities that exist beyond the natural world, observing and perhaps testing the courage of intruders. Certain areas of the forest are particularly notorious. Remote trails, abandoned cabins, and secluded clearings often serve as the setting for paranormal encounters. Visitors report sudden drops in temperature, inexplicable gusts of wind, and the sensation that the ground beneath them is subtly shifting. Electronics frequently fail in these zones. GPS devices malfunction, cameras die, and flashlights flicker unpredictably. These malfunctions add to the sense that the forest is resisting observation, that it is a living, conscious entity capable of manipulating its environment to obscure the truth. Ghostly apparitions are among the most frequently cited encounters. Witnesses describe seeing figures in tattered clothing, sometimes appearing as hikers or travelers from decades past. Some are described as wandering aimlessly along trails, lost and confused, while others appear to stare directly at those who witness them, radiating an intensity that is both sorrowful and malevolent. A few hikers claim to have felt sudden contact, a brush of air, a tug at their clothing, or even a cold hand on their shoulder, though they were alone on the trail. These physical sensations, combined with visual sightings, create experiences that are profoundly unsettling, leaving lasting impressions long after visitors leave the forest. Disappearing hikers and campers only add to the forest's dark reputation. Several individuals have gone missing in the Angeles over the years, sometimes reappearing days later with no memory of where they had been, and sometimes never returning at all. Stories abound of travelers following trails that seemed familiar, only to emerge in completely unfamiliar parts of the forest or not at all. Locals attribute these disappearances to the forest's restless spirits, while skeptics suggest the region's rugged terrain and foggy conditions play a role. Yet, even rational explanations cannot fully account for the reports of glowing eyes, shadowy figures, and chilling whispers that accompany many of these incidents. The Angeles is also associated with a sense of timelessness, a feeling that time behaves oddly in certain sections of the forest. Visitors recount watching the sun set rapidly, only to glance at their watches and see that hours have passed in what felt like minutes. Trails sometimes twist and turn in ways that defy logic, leading hikers back to points they thought they had already passed. This disorientation, combined with the pervasive feeling of being watched or followed, creates an atmosphere that is both captivating and deeply unnerving. Despite its terrifying reputation, Angeles National Forest continues to draw visitors from near and far. Hikers, campers, and paranormal enthusiasts venture into its depths seeking adventure, natural beauty, or a brush with the unknown. The forest's eerie allure lies in its duality. It is both majestic and menacing, serene and suffocating. Each rustle of leaves, snap of a branch, or distant whisper can serve as a reminder that the forest is not merely a backdrop for recreation, but a living, breathing entity that remembers the tragedies it has witnessed and the souls it has claimed. Ultimately, Angeles National Forest is a place where beauty and terror coexist in uneasy harmony. Its towering trees, jagged cliffs, and hidden streams create breathtaking landscapes. Yet the forest's history and reported hauntings cast a shadow over every trail. Ghostly apparitions, disembodied chanting, invisible followers, and sudden disappearances serve as stark reminders that the forest is more than it appears. To enter the Angeles is to step into a realm where human history, tragedy, and the supernatural converge, a forest alive with memory, sorrow, and the ever-present gaze of unseen eyes. For those who venture here, the experience is unforgettable. Each visit carries the risk of encountering something inexplicable, and each trail may hold secrets that have lingered for decades. Angeles National Forest is not just a wilderness. To explore it is a haunted landscape, a place where the living and the dead coexist, and where every shadow, every whisper, and every step may be touched by the weight of history and the unknown. Henry Cowell Redwoods State Park, nestled in the Santa Cruz Mountains. To the casual visitor, it is a place of quiet wonder, a retreat from the noise of modern life. Yet beneath its natural beauty lies a forest with a reputation for the strange and the supernatural. Over decades, hikers, campers, and locals have reported experiences that defy explanation, suggesting that the ancient trees may be more than just silent witnesses to history. They may be custodians of secrets, both occult and ghostly. The Santa Cruz Mountains have long been associated with mystical and occult practices. Before the park was established, settlers and travelers whispered of rituals performed deep in the forest, invoking forces beyond human understanding. Some modern visitors claim that remnants of these practices persist in subtle ways, detectable only to those sensitive to the unusual energy that permeates the park. Many accounts speak of a palpable tension in certain groves, a feeling that the forest is aware of one's presence, watching and even guiding movement along the trails. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves robed figures seen disappearing among the redwoods. Witnesses describe the figures as moving deliberately and silently, often vanishing when approached directly. Some claim they are performing rituals, while others insist that the figures are spectral echoes of people who lived and practiced in the forest long ago. These sightings are most common in the late afternoon or at dusk, when shadows stretch long and the trunks of the ancient trees create natural corridors that obscure vision. The figures' sudden disappearances leave observers with a mixture of awe and fear, an unsettling impression that the forest is not only alive but actively concealing its secrets. Glowing lights weaving through the canopy are another hallmark of the park's eerie reputation. Hikers frequently describe small, luminescent orbs drifting silently between branches or flickering along trails. These lights do not behave like natural phenomena, such as fireflies or reflections. They move with apparent purpose, sometimes approaching visitors and other times retreating, vanishing into the dense foliage. Some paranormal investigators theorize that these lights may be manifestations of residual energy from past rituals, while others speculate that the redwoods themselves channel a form of energy unique to the park. Regardless of explanation, encounters with these glowing apparitions often leave a lasting impression of wonder tinged with fear. The forest floor itself occasionally carries the smell of smoke, though no fire is present. Hikers have reported walking through areas filled with this inexplicable scent, thick and acrid, triggering both confusion and anxiety. Some speculate that it may be a remnant of occult practices, or perhaps an unexplainable natural phenomenon amplified by the dense, moisture-laden environment of the redwoods. In any case, the sudden presence of smoke adds an additional layer of unease, reinforcing the sense that visitors are entering a space where ordinary rules do not apply. Auditory phenomena are particularly chilling in Henry Cowell Redwoods State Park. Many hikers recount hearing a woman's scream echoing through the trees, high-pitched and desperate, followed immediately by an unnatural silence. The scream seems to come from a distance, yet reverberates clearly through the dense forest, as if the trees themselves carry the sound. Those who hear it often report a visceral reaction, an instant freeze of fear and a strong compulsion to leave the area. Despite efforts to locate the source, the scream is never found, leaving only the memory of its chilling echo and the lingering tension it creates in the forest. Visitors also describe an oppressive atmosphere in certain parts of the park. A dense, almost suffocating energy seems to cling to specific trails and groves, particularly where the tallest redwoods dominate the skyline. Some hikers experience sudden chills, goosebumps, or the sensation of being observed, even in the absence of other people. Electronic devices occasionally fail in these zones, further reinforcing the idea that the forest resists conventional understanding and observation. Even seasoned hikers, familiar with the terrain, admit to moments of disorientation, as trails seem to bend and shift in ways that challenge both expectation and memory. The cumulative effect of these phenomena has made Henry Cowell Redwoods State Park a place both revered and feared. Many visitors avoid the park after dark, unwilling to confront the unseen presence that is said to walk among the ancient trunks. Others are drawn precisely because of the forest's haunted reputation, hoping for a glimpse of robed figures, glowing lights, or auditory anomalies. Photographers and paranormal enthusiasts often return repeatedly, capturing images of shadows and orbs, though skeptics argue that these can be attributed to natural light, fog, or optical illusions. Yet the consistency of eyewitness reports over decades suggests that the park harbors mysteries that go beyond mere imagination. Perhaps the most compelling aspect of Henry Cowell Redwoods is its timelessness. The trees themselves are centuries old, silent witnesses to generations of human activity, tragedy, and ritual. Their sheer size and age create a cathedral-like atmosphere, one that inspires both reverence and fear. The forest feels alive, as though it remembers each visitor, each ritual, and each scream that has ever echoed through its corridors. To walk among these giants is to feel a connection to something ancient and ineffable, a presence that is both protective and threatening, tangible yet elusive. In the end, Henry Cowell Redwoods State Park is more than just a forest. It is a sanctuary of history, legend, and the unexplained. The combination of natural beauty, mystical energy, and reported hauntings creates a landscape that is as thrilling as it is terrifying. For those who enter its depths, the experience is unforgettable. The glimmer of ghostly lights, the whisper of unseen footsteps, the smell of smoke, and the echo of a woman's scream all combine to form an environment where the ordinary rules of the world seem suspended. Every shadow, every rustle of leaves, and every moment of silence carries the weight of the unknown, reminding visitors that the redwoods are not merely trees, they are guardians of secrets, ancient and eternal, waiting quietly among the trunks for the next traveler to wander too far. Mendocino Woodlands, perched along California's rugged northern coastline, is a forest of striking beauty, dense evergreens, and rolling fog that often blankets the landscape in a ghostly shroud. On sunny days, the woods are serene and inviting, with trails winding through moss-draped trees and streams trickling over smooth rocks. Yet beneath this natural splendor lies a forest that has long been associated with mystery, disappearances, and unexplained phenomena. Those who venture into the depths of Mendocino Woodlands frequently report experiences that defy rational explanation, creating a reputation for one of California's eeriest coastal forests. Campers here are often the first to notice the forest's strange tendencies. Numerous reports describe waking in the early hours to find footprints surrounding tents, footprints that do not belong to anyone in the camp. Some appear to circle the campsite multiple times, as if invisible visitors are patrolling the perimeter. The footprints are often found in soft soil or sand, clearly defined yet belonging to no known creature, human or animal. Campers describe feelings of unease and vulnerability, sensing eyes watching them from the shadows, yet seeing nothing. These incidents are not isolated. For decades, rangers and local guides have whispered about similar encounters, suggesting that Mendocino Woodlands harbors presences that are persistent, patient, and intangible. Ghostly figures are another hallmark of the forest's unsettling reputation. Visitors describe seeing pale silhouettes gliding between the trees or standing silently near cabins. These apparitions often appear at dusk or during thick fog, blending seamlessly with the shadows, their movements slow and deliberate. Some witnesses report that these figures seem aware of being observed, freezing momentarily before vanishing into the mist. Rangers speak of strange sightings near the campgrounds, where shadows appear to linger just beyond the line of vision, refusing to be captured on camera, yet leaving a palpable sense of disturbance in their wake. Mendocino Woodlands is also known for spectral lights hovering just above the forest floor. Witnesses describe small, glowing orbs drifting silently between trees or along the edges of trails. These lights are inconsistent, appearing and disappearing without warning, sometimes seeming to lead travelers deeper into the forest. Campers often report feeling a magnetic pull toward the lights, a subtle compulsion that dissipates when they attempt to follow. Paranormal investigators suggest these orbs could be manifestations of residual energy, while skeptics attribute them to natural bioluminescence or atmospheric effects. Regardless of the cause, these lights have been consistently reported over decades, adding to the forest's reputation as a place where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. Perhaps the most disorienting phenomenon in Mendocino Woodlands is the way the forest seems to manipulate space and direction. Trails often twist unexpectedly, landmarks appear in different locations than remembered, and even experienced hikers report sudden moments of confusion. Campers recount taking familiar paths, only to find themselves back where they started, or discovering that a trail thought to lead to a creek instead ends at a dense thicket of trees. This sense of spatial distortion reinforces the impression that the forest is alive, subtly shaping the movements of those who enter and creating an environment where logic and perception are continually challenged. Auditory experiences further heighten the forest's unsettling atmosphere. Visitors often report hearing faint whispers that seem to drift through the trees, indistinct yet persistent. Sometimes these whispers resemble words, other times a low murmur, always coming from places where no one is present. Footsteps echo along empty trails. Leaves rustle without any visible cause. And distant knocks or taps are heard around cabins late at night. Many describe a sudden, almost instinctive fear when hearing these sounds, as if the forest itself is aware of intruders and responds to their presence. The combination of visual, auditory, and spatial phenomena has made Mendocino woodlands a magnet for both thrill seekers and paranormal investigators. Hikers enter hoping to glimpse shadowy figures, spectral lights, or otherworldly movement, while rangers and locals share cautionary tales to dissuade the unprepared. Photographers often attempt to capture evidence of the unexplained, with occasional images showing faint blurs or luminescent shapes, though skeptics argue these are artifacts of low light or long exposure. Still, the consistency and longevity of the reports suggest that the forest mysteries are deeply ingrained, not mere coincidences. Despite its reputation, Mendocino Woodlands continues to attract visitors drawn by both natural beauty and legend. The dense fog, towering evergreens, and winding trails create an immersive environment that feels simultaneously serene and threatening. The forest's haunted nature does not detract from its appeal. For many, it enhances the experience, offering a rare intersection of breathtaking scenery and unexplainable phenomena. Each visit carries the potential for awe, wonder, and a chilling reminder that some places retain the echoes of the past, and perhaps the presence of forces unseen. Ultimately, Mendocino Woodlands is a forest where time, space, and reality seem subtly altered. The fog, the shifting trails, the spectral lights, and the ghostly figures all combine to create an environment where the ordinary rules of perception do not apply. Campers leave with stories of footprints that appear from nowhere, lights that drift silently through the trees, and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Hikers exit the woods with an uneasy awareness that the forest is alive, its soil and trees imbued with memory and lingering presence. To enter Mendocino Woodlands is to step into a living enigma. Every rustle of leaves, every flicker of light, and every shadow among the trees carries the weight of history, legend, and the unexplained. Visitors leave carrying not only memories of scenic beauty, but also a profound, lingering sense of the forest's supernatural heartbeat. Reminder that some places, no matter how beautiful, are touched by forces beyond human understanding. Los Padres National Forest stretches across California's rugged coastal mountains, spanning Ventura, Santa Barbara, and Monterey counties. It is a vast wilderness of towering pines, steep canyons, and winding trails, drawing hikers, campers, and nature lovers from across the state. Yet for all its natural grandeur, the forest is steeped in a darker, Lagosha place, where the line between the living and the supernatural is said to blur. Countless ghost stories, eerie sightings, and unexplained phenomena have been reported here over the decades, earning the forest a reputation as one of California's most haunted landscapes. From the earliest days, the Chumash tribes regarded this land with a mixture of reverence and fear. They believed the forest was sacred, imbued with spiritual energy, and warned that certain areas were guarded by unseen forces. According to tribal lore, wandering too far into these woods without proper respect or preparation could provoke the wrath of protective spirits. Modern visitors often echo this sense of caution, reporting feelings of being watched, a sensation that something unseen is observing their every move. The forest seems alive, responsive, and sometimes hostile to those who tread its paths. One of the most persistent phenomena in Los Padres is the presence of shadowy shapes moving between the trees. Hikers describe fleeting silhouettes at the edge of vision, tall, dark forms slipping silently through the undergrowth, vanishing when approached. These figures are often humanoid in shape, but unnaturally still, their movements deliberate and purposeful. Witnesses report a growing sense of unease as they follow trails, an instinctive fear that something is keeping pace with them, observing, or perhaps testing their courage. Many who see these shapes describe an almost physical sensation, as if the shadows carry a weight, pressing against the mind as well as the senses. Campers in Los Padres frequently recount terrifying encounters near their campsites. Tall, Dark figures are often reported standing just beyond the glow of campfires, silently observing before disappearing without a trace. Some describe seeing glowing eyes reflecting the light of the fire, only to blink out instantly. Others have experienced unexplained sounds, rustling leaves, snapping twigs, or deep guttural growls that seem to emanate from the forest itself. These encounters often leave a lingering dread, as though the forest has marked them, and stories of missing hikers and campers only add to the fear. The forest also produces phenomena that are not easily explained by sightings alone. Strange lights frequently appear on distant ridges or among the treetops, hovering or weaving in the darkness. These lights are not consistent with known wildlife or human activity. Witnesses report seeing them vanish suddenly, leaving no trace, and sometimes appearing to beckon observers deeper into the forest. Those who follow these lights often find themselves disoriented, wandering trails that seem to twist and shift unnaturally, as though the land itself resists being traversed. The combination of these lights with the shadowy figures has made nighttime exploration of Los Padres an unsettling proposition for even the most experienced hikers. Auditory phenomena in Los Padres are equally disturbing. Visitors report hearing howls and cries that do not match any known animal, echoing through the canyons with a bone-chilling intensity. These sounds are unpredictable, sometimes near and other times distant, always carrying an uncanny sense of intelligence, as if the forest itself is communicating. Some hikers have described hearing whispered voices in the wind, indistinct yet insistent, urging them to leave or guiding them off trails in ways that defy explanation. Such experiences leave many questioning whether they are alone in the forest or if the unseen inhabitants of Los Padres are silently studying every movement. Many visitors also report sudden temperature changes, particularly near areas associated with the strange lights or shadowy figures. Cold spots appear without warning, sending shivers down the spine even on warm days. Electronic devices, including phones and cameras, often fail mysteriously, further isolating those who experience these phenomena. Hikers have recounted moments where the forest seems to bend perception. Trails shift, landmarks disappear, and time behaves unpredictably, creating an environment that is as disorienting as it is terrifying. Despite or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, Los Padres National Forest attracts a steady stream of visitors seeking adventure and the thrill of the unknown. Hikers and paranormal enthusiasts venture deep into the woods, hoping to witness the unexplained firsthand. Many leave with stories of shadowy figures, glowing lights, and unearthly sounds, while others depart with an uneasy respect for the forest's power. Photographs and recordings occasionally capture anomalies, though skeptics argue these are optical illusions or equipment malfunctions. Yet the consistency of eyewitness accounts over decades suggests that Los Padres harbors mysteries that transcend natural explanation. The forest's haunting presence is intertwined with its history and natural environment. The Chumash legacy, combined with centuries of human activity, settlement, logging, and exploration, has created a landscape dense with memory and energy. Every tree, canyon, and ridge seems to echo with the weight of the past, reminding visitors that they are not the first to walk these trails, and that some presences linger beyond the reach of explanation. The interplay between natural beauty and supernatural phenomena gives Los Padres an atmosphere that is simultaneously awe-inspiring and deeply unsettling. Ultimately, Los Padres National Forest is a place where the extraordinary intersects with the ordinary, and where the living share space with the unseen. Shadowy shapes, ghostly figures, unearthly lights, and impossible sounds combine to form an environment that challenges perception, inspires caution, and leaves an indelible impression on those who enter. The forest is a living entity, a guardian of mysteries both ancient and ongoing, reminding all who traverse its trails that some corners of California are more than scenic landscapes. They are haunted, alive, and endlessly enigmatic. For those who venture here, Los Padres offers both wonder and fear. Every rustle of leaves, every distant howl, and every flicker of light carries the weight of countless stories and centuries of history. The forest is not merely a destination, It is a journey into the unknown, a place where natural beauty and supernatural presence coexist, and where each step may bring one closer to forces that have watched over the land long before humans arrived. Humboldt Redwoods State Park, home to the legendary Avenue of the Giants, is a place of staggering natural beauty. Towering redwoods stretch skyward, their massive trunks creating a cathedral-like canopy that filters sunlight into green-gold streams. Visitors come to marvel at the ancient giants, walk serene trails, and experience the quiet majesty of one of the largest remaining old-growth redwood forests in the world. Yet beneath this awe-inspiring exterior lies a history of mystery, strange phenomena, and eerie encounters that have earned the park a reputation as one of California's most haunted forests. Many of the park's stories center on the Avenue of the Giants, a scenic road that winds through the forest. Drivers traveling this route have reported seeing shadowy figures dart across the pavement, vanishing just as quickly as they appear. These apparitions often move with alarming speed, and witnesses describe a sense of immediate danger, despite the absence of any physical presence. Some travelers have slammed on brakes or swerved to avoid the figures, only to find that the space they occupied moments before is empty. The consistency of these sightings over decades has led locals to warn visitors to drive cautiously, not only for the trees and wildlife, but for the unseen entities that may roam the road at any hour. Children's laughter is another frequently reported phenomenon within the park. Campers and hikers recount hearing high-pitched giggles echoing through the forest late at night, often in isolated areas where no children are present. The laughter seems to come from multiple directions at once, surrounding listeners with a sensation of being observed. Some interpret it as a playful spirit lingering among the trees, while others find it chilling and unsettling, a reminder that the forest holds secrets beyond the understanding of the living. The sudden, unexplained sound of joyful voices in an otherwise silent wilderness adds an eerie contrast to the park's serene beauty. Paranormal groups have investigated Humboldt Redwoods extensively, documenting experiences that defy explanation. Cold spots appear unexpectedly, even on warm summer nights, creating an immediate shiver that seems to penetrate more than the skin. Sudden fog can roll in, obscuring trails and roads in a manner that is unnervingly precise, isolating individuals from the surroundings and creating a surreal, otherworldly atmosphere. Investigators also report the sensation of invisible hands brushing against them while walking among the massive trunks, a phenomenon that is tactile yet unseen. These experiences suggest that the park's energy is not merely residual but interactive, responding to the presence of humans in ways that are subtle yet profoundly affecting. The trees themselves seem almost sentient, their enormous trunks carrying centuries of history, memory, and perhaps sorrow. Each redwood is a monument to time, a living witness to generations of human activity, from indigenous tribes to modern visitors. Some hikers describe the impression that the trees are breathing, subtly shifting, or leaning in ways that convey awareness. Walking among the ancient giants, visitors often feel an overwhelming sense of being watched or guided, as if the forest is alive in ways that transcend the natural world. This awareness can be both humbling and disquieting, amplifying the sense that Humboldt's Redwoods is a place where the line between life and spirit blurs. Trails that wind through the forest often carry their own legends. Remote paths are said to be the sites of lingering spirits, with hikers reporting sudden chills, faint whispers, and the feeling of unseen eyes tracking their movements. Some trails are noted for disorienting experiences, where hikers lose their sense of direction or feel compelled to return the way they came, only to discover that the landscape has subtly shifted. Photographers have captured unexplained blurs or orbs in images, while audio recordings occasionally pick up faint, indecipherable sounds. While skeptics attribute these events to natural causes, the sheer number of consistent reports lends credibility to the forest's haunted reputation. Visitors often remark on the forest's dual nature, breathtakingly beautiful, yet inherently unsettling. The interplay between light and shadow beneath the towering canopy creates an environment where the ordinary rules of perception seem suspended. Sunlight filters through the branches in dramatic patterns, fog snakes between the trunks. Within this majesty, glimpses of shadowy figures, the echo of laughter, and the sensation of invisible presences remind visitors that the forest is not merely a backdrop for recreation, it's a living, breathing entity imbued with history, energy, and mystery. Even those who have lived near the park for years share tales of strange occurrences. Rangers often speak quietly of trails they avoid at night, areas where equipment malfunctions for no apparent reason, and fleeting figures glimpsed in the corner of their vision. Locals warn newcomers to respect the forest, not just for its natural dangers, but for the unseen forces that linger among the ancient trees. The stories passed down through generations create a shared consciousness of the forest's enigmatic presence, blending folklore with first-hand experience to create a haunting atmosphere that is difficult to escape. Ultimately, Humboldt Redwoods State Park is more than a scenic destination. It is a place where history, legend, and the supernatural converge. The avenue of the giants, the echoing laughter, shadowy figures, and ghostly apparitions collectively form a landscape that challenges perception and evokes a profound awareness of forces beyond human understanding. Each step among the towering redwoods is a step into a realm where the ordinary world fades, leaving visitors acutely conscious of the unknown. For those who walk these trails, drive these roads, or camp beneath the immense canopy, Humboldt Redwoods offers an unforgettable experience. Every rustle of leaves, flicker of shadow, and whisper of wind carries the weight of centuries of presence. The forest is a guardian of secrets, a keeper of history, and a home for spirits that continue to linger among the trees. Humboldt Redwoods State Park is not just a natural wonder, it is a haunted, breathing entity, where every step reminds visitors that some forests remember, some watch, and some will never let go. Cleveland National Forest sprawls across Southern California, covering portions of Orange, Riverside, and San Diego counties. Its rugged mountains, winding trails, and dense foliage make it a haven for hikers, campers, and nature enthusiasts. Yet behind the forest's picturesque landscapes lies a darker, more sinister reputation. For generations, locals have spoken in hushed tones about disappearances, strange sightings, and unexplained phenomena that suggest the forest is more than it appears, as a place where the natural world and the supernatural converge. One of the most frequently reported occurrences involves mysterious orbs of light that appear after dusk. Hikers and campers describe small, glowing spheres moving silently between trees, sometimes hovering just above the forest floor before vanishing abruptly. These lights do not behave like fireflies or lanterns. They follow no predictable path and appear to react to human presence. Some witnesses report a sensation of being drawn toward them, an irresistible curiosity that fades only when they step back. Paranormal investigators visiting the forest often note these lights, capturing images and footage that defy conventional explanation. The orbs contribute to Cleveland's eerie atmosphere, leaving visitors with a lasting impression that the forest is alive with unseen activity. Orientation in Cleveland National Forest can be deceptively challenging, even for experienced hikers. Trails twist unexpectedly, landmarks seem to shift, and many report losing all sense of direction, sometimes for hours. Some hikers recount returning to areas they had already passed, only to find the landscape subtly altered. A few never return at all, disappearing into the dense woods under circumstances that remain unexplained. These vanishings have fed local legends, reinforcing the idea that the forest is both vast and unknowable, capable of concealing travelers within its depths. Ghostly apparitions are another hallmark of the forest's haunted reputation. Sightings often describe settlers, soldiers, or early explorers wandering among the trees, their forms semi-transparent and eyes faintly glowing. These figures are typically seen along old trails, near abandoned campsites, or in areas that were once strategic passes or settlements. Witnesses report feeling an almost magnetic awareness from these apparitions, a sense that they are watching or even guiding observers. Some encounters are brief, a fleeting glimpse through dense foliage, while others are prolonged with figures standing silently for minutes before disappearing into the shadows. The forest floor itself seems to hold an unusual energy. Many visitors describe a sensation of instability, as if the ground beneath their feet is subtly shifting. Rocks and soil appear to move, trails feel uneven without reason, and some claim that the very earth seems to breathe. This tactile, almost physical unease reinforces the sense that Cleveland National Forest is not merely a setting, but an active participant in the experiences of those who enter it. Hikers frequently speak of heightened awareness in these areas, a mixture of caution, awe, and instinctive fear that something beyond ordinary perception is present. Disembodied sounds further intensify the forest's eerie reputation. Campers report hearing footsteps, whispers, and even the faint clatter of tools or armor in areas long abandoned. Some describe hearing voices calling their names or murmuring unintelligible warnings, often accompanied by sudden gusts of wind or the rustle of leaves in otherwise still air. These auditory phenomena often occur at night, enhancing the feeling of isolation and vulnerability. Visitors describe the effect as both subtle and profound, creating a lingering tension that follows them along trails and through campsites. Despite these unsettling reports, Cleveland National Forest continues to attract adventurers, paranormal enthusiasts, and naturalists. Some come seeking a connection with nature, unaware of the forest's haunted reputation, while others are drawn specifically by the chance to witness its strange phenomena firsthand. Many return with stories of glowing eyes in the darkness, floating orbs, and disorienting trails. Photographs occasionally capture faint lights or misty figures, while audio recordings sometimes reveal strange, unexplained noises. Whether interpreted as spiritual manifestations, residual energy, or natural anomalies, the forest's mystique remains undeniable. The forest's history contributes to its reputation as one of California's most paranormally active sites. Settlers and soldiers traverse these mountains, and the landscape has witnessed countless struggles for survival, conflict, and human endeavor. The energy of those who once walked the land appears to linger, manifesting as apparitions, auditory phenomena, and strange physical sensations. Modern visitors are reminded that while the forest is a place of beauty and recreation, it is also a site where the past continues to echo, and where the living may encounter remnants of those who came before. Cleveland National Forest's haunting presence is subtle, yet persistent. The interplay of dense woods, rugged terrain, and foggy valleys creates an environment where light, shadow, and perception are constantly in flux. Hikers often report a sense of being followed, observed, or guided, while others feel an intangible weight pressing down upon them. The combination of unexplained lights, ghostly figures, and disorienting trails ensures that no two experiences are ever alike. For many, the forest is a reminder that nature is not merely a backdrop for human activity, but a realm that exists on its own terms, with secrets and forces beyond ordinary comprehension. Ultimately, Cleveland National Forest is more than a wilderness destination. It is a haunted, enigmatic landscape where the ordinary and the extraordinary coexist. Shadowy figures, glowing orbs, disorienting trails, and the sensation of shifting ground all combine to form an environment that is as captivating as it is unnerving. Every rustle of leaves, flicker of light, and distant whisper carries the weight of history, legend, and unseen presence. Visitors leave with memories of natural beauty intertwined with the haunting sense that the forest is alive, watching, and perhaps even protective or testing those who enter. For those who venture into Cleveland National Forest, each hike or camping trip is an invitation into the unknown. The forest's legends, shadows, and lights are reminders that some places in California are not merely scenic, they are imbued with memory, mystery, and the presence of forces beyond human understanding. Cleveland is a forest that will not easily release its secrets. And for those who enter its depths, the experience is unforgettable. A haunting journey through both nature and the supernatural. Castle Rock State Park, nestled in the heart of the Santa Cruz Mountains, is renowned for its dramatic sandstone formations, dense forests, and winding trails. Hikers and nature enthusiasts come to marvel at the cliffs and panoramic views. But beneath the natural beauty lies a landscape steeped in mystery and haunting energy. For decades, visitors have reported unsettling experiences, making Castle Rock one of California's most enigmatic and paranormally charged parks. The park's sandstone formations are both mesmerizing and eerie. Jagged cliffs rise sharply from the forest floor, their surfaces weathered and pockmarked by centuries of wind and rain. These rocks have inspired countless legends, many tied to unexplained phenomena. Visitors frequently report hearing ghostly voices echoing off the cliffs, whispering their names or uttering unintelligible phrases. The sounds often emerge from nowhere, bouncing across rock faces and through the trees in ways that make it nearly impossible to locate their source. Hikers describe a growing sense of unease when these voices appear, as though unseen entities are watching, testing, or even attempting to communicate with them. Strange figures are another hallmark of Castle Rock's haunted reputation. Many hikers have spotted shadowy silhouettes perched atop cliffs or peering from narrow rock crevices. These figures vanish the moment they are approached, leaving only the impression that someone or something has been observing. Some witnesses describe humanoid shapes, while others report fleeting forms that shift and distort in ways that defy human anatomy. The forest seems to play tricks on perception, blending light and shadow, so that even seasoned explorers question what they have truly seen. These sightings are consistent across decades, adding weight to the idea that the park harbors a presence beyond ordinary explanation. Paranormal enthusiasts suggest that Castle Rock was used for ritualistic practices in centuries past. Though historical records are sparse, evidence of stone arrangements and isolated rock alcoves has led some to speculate that indigenous tribes or early settlers engaged in ceremonies that left residual energy behind. Today, visitors often describe an oppressive, almost palpable energy in these areas. The sense of being watched, the sudden chills, and the inexplicable tension in the air contribute to a pervasive feeling that some force lingers, bound to the land and its rocky formations. At night, the forest takes on an even more ominous character. The dense canopy and rugged terrain transform ordinary trails into twisting passages shrouded in shadow. Many hikers report a humming energy that seems to permeate the air, a vibration that is felt more than heard, coursing through the soil and rocks. This hum is often accompanied by sudden drops in temperature, flickering shadows, or the sensation of invisible eyes tracking movement. Even those accustomed to wilderness camping admit to being unnerved, packing up and leaving trails that would have seemed inviting in daylight. The nighttime energy of Castle Rock is both intoxicating and terrifying, drawing some to explore and driving others away in fear. The forest itself adds to the unsettling ambience. Towering redwoods, oaks, and dense undergrowth create pockets of shadow and concealment. Hikers often experience sudden disorientation, as trails that seem straightforward during the day twist and branch in confusing ways after sunset. Sounds cracking branches, rustling leaves, distant whispers echo, unpredictably, sometimes approaching and sometimes receding in a manner that feels deliberate. These experiences leave many questioning whether the forest is merely a backdrop for natural events or a conscious entity interacting with visitors. Visitors have also reported physical sensations that are difficult to explain. Cold spots appear in areas with no apparent source of shade or moisture, and some hikers describe feeling a light brush against their skin, as if unseen hands are present. Footsteps sometimes echo behind hikers on trails, yet, when they turn, the path is empty. Electronic devices occasionally malfunction in these areas. Compasses spin inexplicably. Flashlights flicker, and cameras fail to capture images that can later be reviewed. The combination of these sensory anomalies contributes to a pervasive sense of unease, leaving visitors hyper-aware and often prompting them to retreat from the forest. Despite its reputation, Castle Rock State Park continues to attract adventurers, nature lovers, and those drawn to the paranormal. The forest, cliffs, and trails offer breathtaking scenery during the day, While the park's legends and haunted reputation provide a thrill for those seeking encounters with the unknown, photographers, hikers, and paranormal investigators attempt to capture evidence of the unexplained, faint lights, shadowy figures, and sounds that defy ordinary explanation. While skeptics may attribute these occurrences to natural phenomena or optical illusions, the consistency and number of reports suggest that Castle Rock is a place where something extraordinary lingers. History and legend intertwined in the park, creating an atmosphere that is both beautiful and unnerving. The ancient trees, rugged cliffs, and hidden alcoves seem to hold memories of centuries past. Each rustle of leaves, crack of a branch, or flicker of shadow reminds visitors that they are walking through a landscape rich in stories, both human and supernatural. The combination of natural splendor and paranormal activity ensures that every visit is memorable, leaving hikers with a sense of wonder and a lingering awareness of unseen forces. Ultimately, Castle Rock State Park is a place where the ordinary and extraordinary meet. Shadowy figures, ghostly voices, and inexplicable phenomena transform the forest from a serene retreat into a realm charged with mystery and energy. The sandstone cliffs, dense woods, and hidden trails create a backdrop for experiences that challenge perception and spark curiosity, awe, and fear. Visitors leave with memories of natural beauty intertwined with encounters that cannot be easily explained. Aware that Castle Rock is a place where the past, the unknown, and the supernatural are intertwined, lingering in every rock, tree, and shadow. For those who venture into the forest, Castle Rock is not merely a destination, it's an experience, a journey into the unknown. Every step, every glance over a cliff, and every sound carried on the wind serves as a reminder that this forest holds secrets, energy, and presence beyond human understanding. Castle Rock State Park is a haunting landscape, alive with the whispers of history and the unseen forces that continue to watch, waiting, and linger in the shadows. San Bernardino National Forest sprawls across Southern California, covering vast mountains, deep canyons, and dense woodland that stretches as far as the eye can see. Its natural beauty draws hikers, campers, and adventure seekers from across the state, offering trails that wind past sparkling streams, towering pines, and rugged cliffs. Yet beneath this scenic veneer lies a darker reality. For decades, locals and visitors alike have whispered of disappearances, ghostly sightings, and unexplainable phenomena that suggest the forest is more than just a wilderness. It's a place haunted by tragedy, memory, and restless spirits. Stories of vanishing hikers are perhaps the most chilling aspect of San Bernardino National Forest's reputation. Numerous accounts describe individuals following a trail or exploring remote areas, only to disappear without a trace. Some are found days later, disoriented and unable to recall how they became lost. Others are never seen again. Survivors often describe hearing faint, seductive voices calling their names or urging them down hidden paths. The voices are unnerving in their realism, soft coaxing, and eerily intimate, leading those who hear them deeper into the forest, where the trees seem to close in and trails twist unnaturally. Shadowy figures with glowing eyes are another recurring phenomenon. Campers have reported seeing these figures watching from the tree line, silently stalking their movements before vanishing into the darkness. Hikers claim that the isophane, described as yellow or orangey, merge suddenly from the blackness, fixating on them for moments that feel like eternity before disappearing. The figures are humanoid in shape but move with an unnatural fluidity, as if unconstrained by the laws of the physical world. Some accounts describe multiple figures appearing simultaneously, heightening the terror and giving the impression of a forest that is alive with unseen watchers. The atmosphere deep within the forest is heavy and oppressive. Many who venture into the remote areas describe a tangible weight, as if the very air is thick with history and sorrow. The deeper one goes, the more suffocating the environment becomes, leaving hikers and campers with a sense of dread that is difficult to shake. This sensation is often accompanied by sudden drops in temperature, inexplicable mists, and the feeling that unseen presences are close by. Even on warm summer days, The forest can feel chilling, as though it remembers every tragedy that has occurred on its soil. Auditory phenomena further reinforce the forest's eerie reputation. Whispers drift through the trees, voices murmuring in languages unknown or repeating words that sound familiar yet distorted. Some visitors hear the distant clatter of tools, footsteps, or even the faint echo of laughter carried by the wind. These sounds appear and vanish unpredictably, creating a sense that the forest is both alive and conscious, responding to human presence in ways that are subtle yet profoundly unsettling. Campers report that the rustling of leaves or the snap of a twig often seems timed to their movements, amplifying the feeling of being observed and pursued. Hikers also describe a disorienting effect that seems unique to San Bernardino National Forest. Trails appear to shift, landmarks disappear, and familiar paths become labyrinthian. Even seasoned outdoors people find themselves losing direction, sometimes returning to locations they passed hours earlier without realizing it. This confusion, coupled with the haunting sounds and shadowy figures, creates an environment where fear and uncertainty dominate, making it easy to imagine that the forest itself is manipulating perception. Paranormal enthusiasts suggest that the forest is cursed or imprinted with residual energy from centuries of human tragedy. Settlers, travelers, and explorers who suffered or died within its bounds may have left behind echoes of their final moments. The forest, in turn, seems to replay these events for those unfortunate enough to wander too far. Every scream, every footstep, every whisper reported by visitors contributes to the sense that San Bernardino is more than a natural landscape. It is a living record of past suffering, endlessly repeating and silently watching those who intrude. The forest's reputation has not deterred adventurers. In fact, many are drawn by the very stories that make others wary: campers, hikers, and investigators hoping to witness the unexplained come equipped with cameras, audio recorders, and a spirit of curiosity. Though many vanish on review, adding to the mystique, each story, each encounter, reinforces the idea that the forest is inhabited by forces unseen, waiting to interact with those who enter its depths. Despite its chilling reputation, San Bernardino National Forest is also a place of immense natural beauty. The towering pines, rushing streams, and panoramic views provide breathtaking scenery and opportunities for recreation. Yet within this splendor exists a persistent reminder of the forest's haunted nature. Every echo, shadow, or fleeting light carries the weight of memory and history, blurring the line between the natural and the supernatural. Visitors are constantly reminded that they share the forest with more than wildlife, that unseen presences, drawn by past tragedies, may still roam the trails. Ultimately, San Bernardino National Forest is a place where the ordinary and extraordinary coexist. The vanishings, ghostly figures, whispering voices, and oppressive energy combine to create a landscape that challenges perception and evokes deep-seated fear. For those who enter its trails and camp beneath its trees, the forest offers not just adventure, but an encounter with the unknown. Every step is a journey into a space where history, memory, and supernatural forces intersect, leaving visitors with memories that linger long after they leave. For anyone venturing into San Bernardino, the forest is a reminder that not all beauty is benign. The towering trees, rugged terrain, and hidden paths may conceal forces beyond understanding. Shadowy figures watch, whispers call from nowhere, and the forest itself seems to remember. San Bernardino National Forest is more than a scenic wilderness. It is a haunted, living entity, a place where every trail and campsite carries the weight of countless stories, tragedies, and unseen presences that continue to linger in the darkness. Mount Tamalpais State Park, affectionately known as Mount Tam, rises majestically above Marin County, offering sweeping views of the San Francisco Bay, rolling hills, and dense coastal forests. Visitors flock to its trails, redwood groves, and ridges for hiking, biking, and breathtaking scenery. Yet beneath this serene beauty lies a mountain steeped in history, mystery, and haunting legends. For generations, locals have whispered of strange phenomena. unexplained disappearances, and ghostly apparitions that make Mount Tam a place where the natural and supernatural intertwine. The mountain holds deep significance for the Miwok people, who considered its slopes sacred. Long before modern trails and park signage, the Miwok told stories of spirits and guardians residing on the ridges, protecting the land and warning those who ventured too far from safety. Even today, some believe that the mountain retains this spiritual energy, an invisible presence that observes and responds to human activity. Visitors often report an uncanny sense of being watched, a feeling that Mount Tam itself is aware of every step taken along its winding paths. Tragedies have long been associated with the mountain, adding to its haunted reputation. Accidents, murders, and mysterious disappearances have occurred across its trails and secluded valleys. Hikers recount stories of friends or strangers vanishing without a trace, sometimes only to be found hours or days later in areas they never intended to reach. These incidents are often accompanied by reports of disorientation, sudden fog, or eerie silence, suggesting that the mountain plays a role in luring the unwary deeper into its labyrinthine forest. Ghostly figures are a common thread in Mount Tam's legends. Many hikers have reported seeing women in white drifting along ridges or standing silently among the trees. These apparitions are described as ethereal, their faces obscured or shifting, and they vanish when approached. Witnesses often experience a sudden chill, a racing heartbeat, or the sensation of being followed when these figures appear. Some claim that the women in white are tied to historical tragedies, lost lovers, victims of accidents, or spirits tied to the mountain's long and often violent history. Their presence adds a layer of melancholy and fear to the otherwise peaceful surroundings. Flickering lights further enhance the mountain's otherworldly reputation. Visitors report seeing small glows or orbs moving along the slopes, sometimes darting between trees or hovering above the trails. These lights do not resemble flashlights or lanterns. They appear spontaneously, vanish when approached, and sometimes move with intelligence, leading hikers away from familiar paths. Paranormal investigators and amateur explorers alike have documented these phenomena, capturing fleeting images or videos that defy easy explanation. The lights contribute to the sense that Mount Tam is a place alive with unseen forces, its ridges and valleys imbued with energy that remains hidden during daylight hours. Silence is another haunting feature of the mountain. Hikers often describe moments when the forest suddenly falls completely quiet, the wind stops, birds cease calling, and even distant traffic seems to vanish. In this unnatural stillness, every sound of movement, footsteps, rustling leaves, or the crack of a branch echoes sharply, magnifying the feeling that something unseen is nearby. Some visitors interpret this silence as the mountain listening, as if the very earth and trees are aware of intruders and are holding their breath in response. The effect can be disorienting and deeply unsettling, prompting even seasoned hikers to move quickly or retreat entirely. Mount Tam's trails also play tricks on perception. Paths that seem straightforward during daylight hours can twist unexpectedly at dusk, and familiar landmarks sometimes appear altered or out of place. Hikers report sudden changes in terrain, as though the mountain itself is rearranging the forest to confuse and disorient those who wander too far. Combined with the spectral figures, flickering lights, and eerie silence, this creates an environment where fear and caution dominate, leaving visitors hyper-aware of every movement and sound. Despite these unsettling reports, Mount Tamalpais State Park continues to attract adventurers, naturalists, and those intrigued by the paranormal. Photographers, hikers, and ghost hunters seek the mountain for its natural beauty and legendary mysteries, hoping to witness or capture evidence of the unexplained. While skeptics attribute many sightings to optical illusions, shadows, or the play of fog and light, the consistency of accounts across decades reinforces the mountain's reputation as a place imbued with haunting energy. The mountain's combination of natural splendor and paranormal activity creates an experience that is both awe-inspiring and unnerving. The towering redwoods, rugged ridges, and rolling hills provide breathtaking vistas, while the forest's shadows, ghostly figures, and strange lights remind visitors that the environment is charged with history and energy beyond ordinary comprehension. Each step along Mount Tam's trails carries a subtle tension, a reminder that the mountain is not just a backdrop for recreation, but a living, breathing entity with secrets and memories. Ultimately, Mount Tamalpais State Park is a place where history, legend, and the supernatural converge. Ghostly women in white, flickering lights, eerie silence, and the mountain's disorienting paths combine to create a haunting atmosphere that leaves visitors with a sense of wonder, fear, and respect. Those who venture onto its trails are reminded that some places hold memories and energies far beyond human understanding, and that the natural world can be as enigmatic and mysterious as any ghost story. For anyone exploring Mount Tam, the experience is unforgettable. Every rustle of leaves, every flicker of light, and every whisper of wind serves as a reminder that the mountain carries its past and watches those who enter. Mount Tamalpais is not just a parkette, is a sacred, haunted landscape, alive with the whispers, memories, and unseen presences that linger across its ridges and valleys, keeping its secrets close to this day. Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve, nestled among the rolling hills of Contra Costa County, is a landscape of both rugged beauty and lingering shadows. Once a bustling center of coal and sand mining, the preserve is steeped in the echoes of labor, hardship, and tragedy. Today, hikers and visitors traverse its trails, seeking scenic views and outdoor adventure. Yet many report experiences that suggest the land has not forgotten its past, that the suffering of those who toiled here continues to resonate in spectral form. The preserve's most infamous legend revolves around the White Witch of the Mines, described as a pale, glowing figure drifting silently among the oak trees. She is said to appear on misty mornings or at twilight, her form almost translucent against a backdrop of hills and brush. Witnesses report a sudden chill in the air when she appears, a sense of being watched that intensifies with every step. Some who have glimpsed her speak of an overwhelming sadness radiating from the figure, as if she carries the sorrow of the countless miners who worked and perished beneath the earth. Attempts to approach her invariably fail. She vanishes before anyone can get close, leaving only a lingering sense of dread and awe. Children, in particular, seem drawn into the preserve's mysterious phenomena. Locals tell chilling stories of young ones wandering into sudden fog banks, disappearing for hours before re-emerging with no memory of where they had been. These accounts are remarkably consistent across generations, reinforcing the idea that the land possesses a will of its own, guiding and confounding those who enter. Hikers have reported finding small footprints in the mist, encircling abandoned mining structures, only to disappear into thin air when followed. The preserve seems to manipulate perception, creating illusions of space and time that disorient even the most experienced visitors. Even during daylight hours, the energy of Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve is palpable. Many hikers report the unmistakable clink of picks and shovels striking stone beneath the ground, the sound echoing as if miners are still at work in unseen tunnels. Others describe sudden gusts of wind in areas sheltered from the breeze, or hear distant voices calling names, sometimes urgent, sometimes mournful. These auditory phenomena are often accompanied by an intense feeling of presence, as if unseen figures are observing or guiding visitors along the trails. The combination of sound, sensation, and visual anomalies gives the impression that the preserve itself is alive with memory and spirit. The abandoned mines contribute to the preserve's eerie atmosphere. Dark entrances, often hidden beneath overgrowth or crumbling stone, invite exploration while simultaneously warning against it. Hikers speak of claustrophobic sensations when venturing near these sites, a heaviness that presses down physically and emotionally. Some report glimpsing shadows flitting across mine shafts, while others hear faint voices emanating from the depths, as though the miners' spirits remain bound to the tunnels they once worked. The mines serve as a tangible connection to the past, a reminder that the land is haunted not only by legend but by the lingering presence of those who suffered here. Oaks, rolling hills, and open meadows at Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve are not immune to these spectral occurrences. Figures have been spotted moving along ridgelines, sometimes disappearing into the trees or blending seamlessly with the landscape. Visitors recount seeing the outline of a man with a miner's cap, holding a pick over his shoulder, standing silently before vanishing. Others speak of glowing lights flickering in the distance at dusk, moving in ways that defy natural explanation. Even the most skeptical hikers often feel a shiver as they pass these areas, sensing that the preserve is observing, aware, and in some way responding to their presence. The preserve's folklore extends beyond visual and auditory phenomena. Many report a sense of timelessness within its boundaries. Trails that appear straightforward can twist unpredictably. Landmarks seem to shift, and familiar paths may suddenly lead to unfamiliar terrain. Campers often recount waking to find their surroundings subtly altered, tents positioned differently than when they fell asleep, or items inexplicably moved. These subtle manipulations reinforce the impression that Black Diamond Mines is not just a place of natural beauty, but a space imbued with lingering energy from its troubled history. Despite the fear that these stories evoke, Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve continues to draw visitors. Its combination of scenic vistas, historic structures, and paranormal intrigue creates a unique experience. Photographers and paranormal investigators attempt to capture evidence of the supernatural: faint lights, shadowy figures, or mysterious sounds, while casual hikers often come seeking the thrill of walking among living history. The preserve's reputation ensures that every visit carries a sense of anticipation and tension, as if the land itself is waiting to reveal its secrets to those willing to observe closely. Ultimately, Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve is more than a collection of trails and abandoned tunnels. It is a landscape where history, tragedy, and legend converge. The White Witch, the spectral miners, the vanishing children, and the uncanny sounds all point to a place where the past refuses to remain buried. Visitors leave the preserve with memories of both natural beauty and haunting experiences, aware that the land is not merely a backdrop but a living repository of stories, suffering, and unseen presences. For anyone wandering the trails of Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve, the experience is unforgettable. Each creaking branch, echoing footstep, and flicker of light carries the weight of the miner's labor, the whispers of forgotten tragedies, and the ethereal presence of the White Witch. The preserve is a reminder that some landscapes remember, that some histories continue to linger, and that in certain places, the boundary between the living and the spectral is thinner than one might imagine. Griffith Park, sprawling across the hills of Los Angeles, is often celebrated for its scenic vistas, hiking trails, and the iconic Griffith Observatory. By day, the park is alive with visitors enjoying panoramic views of the city, picnics, and the fresh mountain air. Yet beneath the familiar trails and recreational areas lies a shadowed history, one steeped in betrayal, misfortune, and lingering supernatural presence. Many who venture here after dusk report experiences that suggest the land carries memories far older and darker than the modern city surrounding it. The story of Griffith Park begins with the land itself. In the mid-19th century, Don Antonio Feliz, a prominent landowner, desired Doña Petronilla, wealthy widow, out of her rightful inheritance. The betrayal was swift and calculated, leaving Petronilla destitute and humiliated. Anguished and furious, she cursed the land, declaring that misfortune would follow anyone who exploited it unjustly. Soon after, Don Antonio fell gravely ill and wasted away under mysterious circumstances, fueling local belief that the curse was real. Over time, whispers of the curse spread, attaching themselves to the hills, canyons, and trails that would become Griffith Park. Today, visitors often report eerie phenomena that seem tied to this ancient vendetta. Ghostly horsemen have been spotted riding along ridges or disappearing into the mist, their mounts moving silently over rugged terrain. Some describe a rider clad in traditional 19th century attire, face obscured, yet unmistakably watching anyone who passes below. The horsemen are sometimes seen at dusk or during the night, vanishing when approached, leaving only hoofprints or a sudden stillness in the air. These apparitions reinforce the sense that the land itself remains imbued with Petronilla's anger and that the curse is far from dormant. Shadowy women are another common sight, reported along Griffith Park's trails, often appearing at the edge of a path or between trees. They seem to drift rather than walk, their forms fluid and ghostly. Hikers and equestrians describe an overwhelming feeling of being watched, followed by a sudden chill, or the sensation of an invisible presence moving alongside them. Many believe these figures represent Petronilla herself, or spirits connected to the injustices she endured. Encounters are brief but unforgettable, leaving witnesses with a lasting sense of unease. Laughter is another hallmark of the park's haunted reputation. Some who explore Griffith Park after dark report hearing faint, melodious laughter echoing across the hills, sometimes near abandoned structures, sometimes from the dense underbrush. The sound is said to be unmistakably feminine, carrying a mixture of amusement and menace. Many hikers interpret it as Petronilla's spirit, still alert, still watching, and still amused by the fear her presence instills. The laughter often appears during moments of silence, amplified by the hills and canyons, creating a surreal, disorienting effect. Certain areas of Griffith Park seem to concentrate these supernatural experiences. The trails around Brush Canyon, the ridges overlooking Los Angeles, and the older, less traveled paths near the observatory are frequently cited as hotspots. Visitors have reported sudden drops in temperature, strange lights flickering among the trees, and unexplained shadows moving against the hillsides. Even seasoned hikers and locals find themselves unnerved, experiencing a disorienting sense of time and place, as if the park's energy warps perception. The curse's influence appears to extend beyond sightings. Griffith Park has long been associated with misfortune and tragedy. Numerous accidents, disappearances, and eerie incidents have been recorded across its history, often in areas tied to Petronilla's story. While some attribute these events to natural hazards or human error, others believe the land itself carries residual energy, replaying past injustices in ways that affect anyone who wanders too close. The combination of historical betrayal and contemporary phenomena contributes to a sense that the park is alive, watching, and subtly manipulating those within its bounds. Many paranormal investigators and thrill seekers are drawn to Griffith Park, specifically because of its storied past. Cameras, audio recorders, and night vision equipment frequently capture unexplained lights, shadows, or sounds that defy natural explanation. Hikers have reported glowing figures moving along ridges, fleeting glimpses of horsemen disappearing into the night, and whispers that seem to come from nowhere. While skeptics argue that shadows, fog, and human imagination account for these experiences, the sheer number and consistency of reports suggest that the park holds more than ordinary. History, its past, and its legends continue to linger palpably in the present. Despite its haunted reputation, Griffith Park remains a popular destination, offering both natural beauty and a thrilling connection to Los Angeles history. By day, the park is vibrant and welcoming, filled with the laughter of families, the patter of hiking boots, and the rush of wildlife. By night, however, the hills take on a different character, one where shadows move unexpectedly, where laughter carries on the wind, and where ghostly figures ride and drift silently among the trails. Visitors quickly learn that the mountain and its valleys harbor stories that are both beautiful and chilling, offering a unique blend of history, legend, and the supernatural. Ultimately, Griffith Park is more than a recreational space. It is a landscape charged with history, curses, and lingering spirits. The ghostly horsemen, shadowy women, and Petronilla's laughter serve as reminders that some injustices leave permanent marks on the land. Every trail, ridge, and canyon holds whispers of betrayal, echoing down through the decades, haunting those who wander too far from the familiar paths. Griffith Park is not merely a park. It's a living testament to the power of history, memory, and unresolved vengeance. where the past continues to watch and linger over Los Angeles, even amidst the city's modern bustle. For anyone walking its trails, Griffith Park offers not just breathtaking views, but an encounter with the unseen. The stories of betrayal, curses, and spectral figures ensure that every shadow, every whisper, and every sudden chill carries a sense of mystery. The park is a place where the living brush against the remnants of the past, and where the curse of Dona Petronilla still seems to watch, silently, from the hills. The forests surrounding Mount Shasta in Siskiyou County stretch for miles, dense with towering evergreens, hidden groves, and winding trails that disappear into misty hollows. From a distance, the mountain appears serene, crowned with snow and bathed in sunlight. But those who venture into its forests quickly learn that an undercurrent of mystery and danger pulses through the trees. Mount Shasta has long been regarded as a sacred and enigmatic place, drawing hikers, spiritual seekers, and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Yet alongside its natural beauty lies a reputation steeped in legends, strange phenomena, and disappearances that defy explanation. One of the most pervasive stories concerns the strange lights that flicker between the trees at night. Hikers and campers consistently report seeing ethereal glows moving in patterns that seem intelligent, sometimes hovering just above the forest floor or darting through the branches. The lights do not resemble flashlights, lanterns, or any natural phenomena. They appear and vanish without warning. Some witnesses describe the lights forming shapes, or even leading them deeper into the forest, only to disappear suddenly, leaving a chill in the air and a growing sense of unease. Shadow people are another frequent occurrence in Mount Shasta's forests. These figures are often seen standing silently at the edge of trails, watching hikers as they pass. Unlike ordinary shadows, they move independently of the light, sometimes shifting or vanishing abruptly. Campers and hikers have reported feeling a weight on their chests, sudden drops in temperature, or the sensation of being followed even when no one is visible. The presence of these shadowy figures is often accompanied by an unshakable sense of dread, as if the forest itself is aware of those who enter and is testing them in ways beyond human understanding. Many believe that Mount Shasta conceals portals to hidden realms, with connections to ancient legends of the Lemurians. According to folklore, Lemuria was a lost civilization whose survivors settled beneath the mountain in hidden subterranean cities. Strange occurrences in the forest's unexplained lights, disembodied voices, and sudden fogs are often attributed to the lingering influence of these mysterious beings. Campers report waking to chanting in unknown languages, rhythmic and melodic, echoing through the trees as if coming from deep underground. Others recount finding symbols carved into stones or tree bark, intricate and undecipherable, fueling speculation that ancient rituals are still imprinted on the landscape. The forest has a long history of disappearances that defy logical explanation. People hiking or camping near Mount Shasta occasionally vanish without a trace, sometimes returning days later with no memory of where they had been, and sometimes never returning at all. Contributing to Mount Shasta's reputation as one of California's most enigmatic and perilous forests. Campers tell of nights when the forest seems to come alive, the trees whispering in a language that feels ancient and alien. Unseen footsteps circle tents, shadows slip silently through the underbrush, and the wind carries chants or distant laughter that seems both inviting and threatening. Electronics often malfunction in these areas, compasses spin without direction, and GPS devices fail to register movement. The effect is disorienting, as if the forest itself is shifting, bending reality to protect or conceal its mysteries. Even daylight offers no full protection from Mount Shasta's strange energy. Hikers report seeing figures at a distance, vanishing when approached, or noticing movements out of the corner of their eyes that cannot be explained. The forest seems to resist mapping or measurement. Its dense canopy and rugged terrain, hiding valleys, groves, and ridges that appear and disappear depending on the observer. Trails may loop back on themselves, streams seem to change course, and landmarks vanish, leaving even experienced outdoors people questioning their own senses. Despite the eerie reputation, Mount Shasta continues to draw visitors seeking both adventure and connection to the supernatural. Spiritualists, paranormal investigators, and curious travelers venture into the forest with hopes of encountering the unexplained. Some capture fleeting images of lights, shadow figures, or symbols, while others recount personal experiences of chanting, cold spots, and strange feelings of being watched. These stories, while sometimes dismissed by skeptics, remain remarkably consistent, suggesting that the mountain's forests are charged with energy that transcends ordinary understanding. The legend of Mount Shasta is not just one of ghosts or lights. It is a place where the natural and the supernatural converge. The forests are alive with the echoes of past civilizations, tragic accidents, and unexplainable phenomena. Every flicker of light, every shadow at the edge of the trail, every strange chant heard in the night reinforces the idea that the mountain's secrets are ancient and deliberate. Visitors leave with memories that linger long after they descend the slopes, aware that the forest harbors mysteries that may never be fully understood. Ultimately, Mount Shasta Forest is a realm of wonder and fear, where the familiar world gives way to the strange and the unknown. Hikers and campers who tread its paths find themselves immersed in an environment alive with history, legend, and spectral presence. Shadow people watch silently, lights flicker without source, chants echo in the night, and the mountain itself seems to breathe and respond. Mount Shasta does not reveal its secrets easily, and those who enter the forest are forever changed by the sense that they have brushed against something ancient, powerful, and unknowable. For anyone exploring Mount Shasta, the forests are more than just wilderness. They are a threshold into the extraordinary. Every step along its trails is a step into history, myth, and the paranormal. A place where the ordinary laws of reality seem to waver. Mount Shasta Forest is a land of haunting beauty, sacred energy, and lurking mystery. A place where the mountain itself watches, waits, and occasionally claims those who venture too close to its deepest secrets. Joshua Tree National Park, sprawling across the deserts of San Bernardino and Riverside counties, is world-renowned for its otherworldly landscape. Twisted Joshua trees, massive boulders, and wide-open skies. By day, the park dazzles with stark beauty, sun-bleached rocks, sweeping vistas, and the eerie, almost sculptural forms of its namesake trees. But beneath this serene exterior lies a darker, deeply haunted side, a landscape steeped in spiritual energy, ancient legends, and chilling modern encounters. For centuries, indigenous tribes regarded Joshua Tree as a sacred threshold to the spirit world, a place where the veil between the living and the supernatural was thin, and the desert still hums with those ancient mysteries. The twisted groves of Joshua Tree, especially under the moonlight, appear almost human in their contortions, as though the forest itself watches and waits. Hikers and campers often describe an unsettling sensation when walking among the trees, a feeling of being observed by invisible eyes. Some claim that the trees shift subtly when unobserved, branches stretching or twisting in ways that seem deliberate. Locals and visitors alike whisper about the presence of spirits, drawn to the land's natural power and lingering from centuries past. In more recent decades, Joshua Tree has attracted occult practitioners and ritualists, leaving behind altars, strange carvings, and cryptic symbols etched into rocks and boulders. These markers appear suddenly, as if the land itself offers a canvas to those sensitive to its energy. Campers have reported stumbling upon carefully arranged stone circles in the desert, surrounded by animal bones or other ritual objects, without any indication of who might have created them. Some of these circles are described as portals or boundaries, believed by some to connect this world with realms beyond. It is not uncommon for visitors to find such circles where they had previously walked and none had existed the day before, reinforcing the park's mysterious reputation. Stranger still are the hooded figures seen among the rocks. Hikers report glimpsing tall, dark silhouettes moving fluidly between boulders and desert shrubs, vanishing when approached. These figures seem to glide rather than walk, sometimes standing at the edge of ridges or in narrow canyons, observing intruders silently. Witnesses describe a sensation of heavy anticipation or dread, as if these presences are evaluating those who trespass on the desert's sacred spaces. Some speculate that these figures are spirits left over from ritualistic practices, while others suggest they are guardians of an ancient power that the land itself has absorbed over centuries. Voices are another recurring phenomenon within Joshua Tree. Visitors have reported hearing chanting in languages unknown. Often at night or during the early hours before dawn, the voices can be distant, carried on the wind across the rocks, or startlingly close, as if emerging from directly behind a boulder. Many campers have recounted experiences where they awakened to a chorus of whispers or rhythmic chanting surrounding their campsite, only for all sound to vanish moments later. The desert amplifies and distorts these sounds, creating a surreal, almost hypnotic effect, which leaves those who hear them disoriented and unnerved. Some disappearances in the park remain unexplained, feeding into its haunted legacy. Over the years, hikers and campers have vanished, sometimes leaving behind only personal belongings or a faintly marked campsite. In certain accounts, stone circles or ritual markers are found at these locations, as if the land or unseen forces within it claimed the missing individuals. These vanishings are rare, but have persisted enough to contribute to Joshua Tree's reputation as a place where the ordinary laws of space and time may not fully apply. Visitors are warned to respect the park's vast, open spaces and its hidden, haunted corners. Joshua Tree's haunting is not limited to the night. Many have felt strange presences during daylight, with sudden chills, whispers, or shadows flitting just beyond sight. The desert, with its stark contrasts of sun and shade, rock and sand, seems to amplify these sensations. Hikers often report feeling watched while crossing open plains, and some describe the uncanny sensation of paths shifting subtly underfoot, or landmarks appearing displaced. Even experienced outdoors people can become disoriented, as though the desert itself warps perception, guiding or misdirecting those who tread too far into its secrets. Photographers and paranormal investigators are particularly drawn to Joshua Tree, hoping to capture evidence of its spectral phenomena. Many have recorded unexplained lights, shadowy forms, and objects that appear and disappear inexplicably. Whether these are manifestations of the land's ancient energy, residual effects of rituals, or encounters with spirits, the park continues to challenge conventional understanding of the natural world. Those who enter the desert often report a sense of awe, intertwined with dread, a recognition that Joshua Tree is not just a wilderness but a living, enigmatic force. Ultimately, Joshua Tree National Park is a place where natural beauty and supernatural intrigue converge. The twisted groves, looming boulders, and open desert provide a canvas for ancient spirits, occult energy, and unexplained phenomena. Hooded figures vanish among the rocks, voices chant from nowhere, and stone circles mark the sites of mysterious rituals or disappearances. The desert seems alive, responsive, and at times, dangerous, especially to those who tread carelessly or ignore the invisible boundaries set by its spirits. Visitors who walk among the Joshua trees are often changed, carrying with them a lingering sense of mystery, unease, and reverence. The park is more than a scenic destination. It's a threshold to the unknown, a place where the sacred and the supernatural intertwine. Joshua Tree's deserts remind us that some landscapes retain memory, that some lands are watched, and that in certain places, the veil between this world and the next is thin, fragile, and full of secrets. For anyone entering Joshua Tree, the forested groves and desert expanses are not merely terrain to traverse. They are spaces alive with energy, history, and lingering spirits. Every flicker of movement, every whisper carried by the wind, and every stone circle left behind serves as a reminder that the desert has its guardians, its watchers, and its mysteries, patient and eternal, waiting for those who dare to uncover them. Big Bear Lake, nestled in the San Bernardino Mountains, is widely known as a destination for skiing, cabin retreats, and lakefront recreation. Its natural beauty attracts tourists year-round, offering snow-capped peaks in winter and forested trails in summer. Yet beyond the scenic appeal lies a forest steeped in eerie tales, a place where the ordinary rules of nature seem to bend and the spirits of the past linger among the pines. Locals speak in hushed tones about the supernatural phenomena that unfold along the wooded shores and winding trails of Big Bear. And visitors have long shared encounters that defy rational explanation. One of the most enduring legends is that of the Lady in Gray. Witnesses describe her as a pale, spectral woman wandering the forest near the lake's edge, her flowing dress blending into the mist. Boaters frequently report seeing her materialize on foggy nights, standing silently along the shoreline, her gaze fixed on the water. Some tell of feeling an irresistible pull, as though the Lady in Gray is beckoning them closer. Yet the moment they approach, she disappears into the trees, leaving only an unsettling chill in the air and the faint echo of her presence. Locals claim she has haunted the lake for generations, a lingering spirit tied to a tragic story lost to time. The forest trails surrounding Big Bear Lake are known for their dense undergrowth, towering pines, and the heavy, almost oppressive atmosphere that descends among the trees. Hikers report an unshakable sense of being watched, often accompanied by the strange sensation of invisible hands tugging at their clothes or brushing against their shoulders. Even in the bright light of day, the forest can feel alive, responding to the presence of those who wander too deeply. Some describe feeling dizzy or disoriented, as if the terrain subtly shifts, guiding them away from familiar paths. Perhaps the most unsettling experiences involve the cries of children. Campers and hikers have reported hearing the plaintive wails of lost children echoing through the pines, cries that seem to come from deep within the forest, far from any visible source. Those who investigate often find nothing, no footprints, no voices, no explanation, but the sounds are vivid and hard, leaving an impression that persists long after they leave the woods. Some believe these cries belong to children who vanished decades ago, their spirits wandering the forest in search of guidance or companionship. Others suggest they are a manifestation of the forest itself, echoing sorrow accumulated over generations. Boaters on the lake have their own eerie encounters. Dense fog often rolls across the water unexpectedly, limiting visibility and creating an otherworldly environment where shadows appear and vanish at the edge of perception. In these moments, the Lady in Gray is said to emerge, her figure almost glowing in the mist. Accounts describe her reaching toward those on the water, silently calling them closer before vanishing into the tree line. Witnesses often experience sudden chills, unease, and the feeling that they have narrowly escaped something unseen yet powerful. These experiences have been reported consistently over decades, lending credibility to the legend and instilling caution in those who venture out after dark. The forest itself seems to harbor a restless energy. Trees tower over narrow trails, their branches intertwining to create shadowed corridors that block sunlight even at midday. Campers have described hearing footsteps that follow them without any visible source, or rustling in the underbrush that stops the moment they turn to investigate. Electronics sometimes fail, compasses spin, and GPS devices lose signal inexplicably, as if the environment resists measurement or intrusion. Even wildlife can behave strangely, with birds and small animals vanishing without explanation, adding to the sense that Big Bear Lake's forests are not entirely of this world. Historical events contribute to the forest's haunted reputation. The area has a long history of settlement, logging, and recreation, and with human activity comes tragedy. Some speculate that the spirits haunting the forest are tied to these events, individuals lost in accidents, settlers who met untimely deaths, or children who disappeared near the lake. The stories passed down by locals suggest that the Lady in Gray, the phantom footsteps, and the cries of children are all expressions of lingering sorrow, anchored to the dense, pine-scented landscape. Those who venture into the forest often find that the experience changes them. Even a short hike can leave visitors unsettled, acutely aware of shadows and sounds that seem alive. Many leave with stories of sensations, glimpses, and sounds that cannot be explained by wildlife, wind, or imagination. The forest has a way of embedding itself into memory, of leaving an imprint that lingers long after leaving the trails and cabins behind. Big Bear Lake Forest stands as a place of contrasts, beauty and terror, tranquility and suspense, the natural and the supernatural coexisting in close proximity. Whether it is the ethereal lady in gray along the shoreline, invisible hands tugging at hikers' sleeves, or the haunting cries of lost children echoing among the pines, the forest offers a continuous reminder that some places are alive with memory and spirit. The legends that persist here are not just stories, they are experiences, passed down through generations and validated by countless eyewitnesses who have felt the forest's hidden presence. For those drawn to Big Bear Lake, the forests offer more than recreation. They present a landscape where the ordinary blends seamlessly with the extraordinary, a place where history, legend, and the supernatural intermingle. Every step along the trails, every glance at the misty lake, and every moment of silence carries the weight of stories, both told and untold. Big Bear Lake Forest is a living testament to the mysteries of the mountains, the spirits that linger among the trees, and the enduring power of the unknown to capture the imagination and unsettle the senses. The rugged cliffs and dense forests of Big Sur are renowned for their dramatic beauty, drawing thousands of visitors to California's Central Coast every year. Towering redwoods, winding trails, and the constant roar of the Pacific Ocean make the area a natural wonder. Yet beneath the awe-inspiring landscape lies a darker, more mysterious presence. American State Park, tucked along these cliffs and forested hills, has become the subject of numerous ghostly tales and strange encounters, making it one of the region's most enigmatic locations. Visitors often speak of ghostly figures glimpsed along the forest trails at dusk. These apparitions are rarely fully visible. More often, they are fleeting shapes moving between trees, their eyes catching the fading light, glowing faintly like embers in the half-light. Witnesses describe the sensation of being watched, as if the forest itself is alive with unseen observers. Some say these figures are the spirits of miners and settlers who once worked and lived in isolation along these rugged cliffs, struggling to carve a life from the unforgiving landscape. Others suggest they are lingering reminders of tragic accidents, the souls of those who never returned home. The history of human habitation here adds weight to the paranormal activity. In the 1800s, small mining operations and isolated homesteads dotted the region. The cliffs and forests were treacherous, and many settlers perished, their bodies claimed by the rough terrain or the relentless ocean. Locals tell stories passed down through generations about miners disappearing without a trace and settlers wandering into the fog, never to return. It is said that the forest has absorbed these tragedies, replaying them for anyone who ventures too deeply into its heart. Disembodied whispers are among the most unsettling reports from American State Park. Hikers often recount hearing voices carried on the wind, faint at first, then growing clearer, calling names or urging them down unmarked paths. Some say the whispers are warnings. Others believe they are attempts to draw the living further into the forest. Many who follow these sounds find that the voices vanish when pursued, leaving only the oppressive silence of the forest and a growing sense of unease. The effect is disorienting, and even experienced hikers have become lost, wandering for hours in areas they thought familiar. The fog rolling in from the ocean intensifies the forest's mysterious aura. Thick, cold, and ever-shifting, it blankets the trails and reduces visibility, turning ordinary paths into eerie corridors. In the fog, shadows stretch and distort. Sounds are amplified or muted unpredictably, and shapes appear just beyond the edge of vision. Many visitors report glimpsing figures in the mist, sometimes stationary, sometimes moving only to find the space empty when they approach. The fog itself seems to carry a voice, a resonance of past events, crying out warnings, or perhaps luring the living deeper into the forest, testing their courage and resolve. Several locations within the park have become focal points for paranormal reports. Isolated clearings, abandoned foundations, and steep cliff edges are particularly associated with ghostly activity. Visitors have described seeing figures standing silently among the trees, glowing eyes fixed upon them, or hearing the echo of footsteps that do not belong to anyone nearby. In some cases, the figures are indistinct but undeniably human in shape, suggesting a connection to the settlers and miners who once lived and worked here. Others report sudden drops in temperature, unexplained chills, and feelings of being followed, even when no one is in sight. The forest itself seems alive with memory. Trails can twist unexpectedly, familiar landmarks appear shifted, and the atmosphere thickens as one ventures farther from the main paths. Hikers often comment that the forest feels watchful, as though it responds to their presence, guiding or manipulating their movements. Some even report glimpsing flickering lights between the trees, reminiscent of lanterns carried by unseen hands, briefly illuminating the mist before disappearing entirely. Paranormal enthusiasts believe these lights and the strange auditory phenomena are manifestations of the lingering energy of past tragedies. American State Park is both breathtaking and unnerving. Its beauty is undeniable. The towering redwoods, crashing waves, and panoramic cliffs create a landscape unmatched anywhere in the world. Yet for those attuned to the park's supernatural side, every shadow and every gust of wind carries the weight of history. Ghostly figures, disembodied whispers, and the ever-present fog serve as constant reminders that the forest is more than a scenic retreat. It is a living repository of past events, a place where tragedy and memory linger, intertwining with the natural world. Visitors often leave the forest with stories that defy explanation. Some have captured fleeting images of figures or lights on camera, while others recount experiences of being drawn off trail by invisible forces. Many describe the oppressive atmosphere that can descend suddenly, a sensation that cannot be shaken even after leaving the park. American State Park is a place where the boundary between the living and the spectral feels thin, where the past is never truly gone, and where each step may bring one closer to witnessing the forest's hidden mysteries firsthand. To walk the trails of American State Park is to tread where history, nature, and the supernatural intersect. It is a forest alive with memory, a place where the cliffs echo with whispers of the past, and the fog carries secrets that have lingered for centuries. Ghostly settlers, miners, and unseen watchers make their presence felt in fleeting glimpses, whispered warnings, and sudden chills. Those who visit are often left with an indelible sense that the forest remembers, and that the stories etched into its trails, trees, and fog will continue to unfold for anyone daring enough to enter. Elfin Forest, nestled near Escondido, in San Diego County, is one of California's most mysterious and haunted woodlands. At first glance, it appears as a serene expanse of oak trees, dense undergrowth, and winding trails. Birds chirp, the wind rustles through the leaves, and sunlight filters through the branches. Yet beneath this tranquil exterior lies a place thick with legend, a forest where the spirits of the past linger and the natural world seems intertwined with something far more sinister. For centuries, indigenous tribes considered the land cursed, warning outsiders to stay away. Those warnings have echoed through time, as modern visitors continue to encounter the forest's unnerving mysteries. Stories of Elfin Forest are abundant, and they all share one common thread: a sense of unease that seems to settle over anyone who enters. Hikers frequently report a suffocating feeling of dread, a sensation that invisible eyes are tracking their every step. The forest trails, though familiar to some, can suddenly feel like labyrinths, twisting unnaturally and disorienting even the most experienced explorers. Many speak of glancing through the trees to see shapes darting in the shadows, white figures moving too quickly, vanishing the moment they attempt to focus on them. Some claim these are the spirits of those who once inhabited or traversed the land, bound to the forest by events long forgotten. One of the most enduring legends is that of spectral riders on horseback. Witnesses recount seeing dark figures galloping along the trails, their mounts appearing as shadows themselves, hooves silent against the forest floor. These riders are sometimes glimpsed at twilight, emerging from mist-laden clearings before vanishing into the dense oaks. Locals believe these apparitions are spirits of warriors or settlers who met untimely deaths, their restless energy unable to move on. Others claim that encountering these riders is a warning, a signal that one has trespassed too far into a place that does not belong to the living. Glowing orbs are another frequently reported phenomenon. They appear suddenly, hovering between trees, or flitting along the trail like will-o'-the-wisps. Some are small, like floating lanterns, while others are large enough to illuminate the surrounding area with an ethereal glow. Witnesses often describe an immediate drop in temperature when these lights appear, accompanied by the distinct feeling of being watched. Paranormal investigators have studied these orbs extensively, noting their unpredictable movement patterns and the electrical interference they often cause. Cameras, flashlights, and other electronics frequently malfunction in their presence, adding a layer of tangible unease to the supernatural experience. Cold spots, disembodied whispers, and inexplicable noises are common occurrences in elfin forests. Hikers have reported sudden drops in temperature, their breath visible even on otherwise warm days. Others hear whispers carried on the wind, voices speaking in languages unknown, calling names, or repeating fragmented phrases. Some have felt invisible hands tug at their clothing, a subtle but unmistakable sensation that they are not alone. Electronics fail unexpectedly, compasses spin erratically, and GPS devices lose connection, as though the forest resists measurement and observation. These phenomena suggest that the area is saturated with a form of energy beyond comprehension, one that interacts with both the natural and human worlds. Historical context lends weight to these haunting experiences. The land surrounding Elfin Forest was long used by indigenous peoples who recognized its potent energy and treated it with caution. Early settlers and miners who moved into the area ignored these warnings, often experiencing tragedy or vanishing under mysterious circumstances. It is believed that the forest retains the memory of these events, replaying fragments for those sensitive enough to perceive them. Paranormal enthusiasts claim that every trail, clearing, and grove carries a residue of emotion, sorrow, and unrest that manifests in the haunting phenomena observed today. Visitors often recount encounters that defy logical explanation. Hikers describe glimpsing figures out of the corner of their eyes, only to find the space empty when they turn. Campers awaken to the sensation of being watched, seeing shadows move among the trees despite knowing no one else is present. Some have caught fleeting glimpses of pale, ghostly figures darting across their path, and others report hearing footsteps that follow their own pace without a source. The forest seems to possess an intelligence, a responsiveness that unsettles even the most skeptical explorers. Despite, or perhaps because of its eerie reputation, Elfin Forest continues to attract adventurers, nature lovers, and paranormal investigators. Cameras, EMF detectors, and other equipment are often brought in hopes of capturing evidence, yet the forest has a way of remaining elusive. Many report strange interference, missing footage, or electronic malfunctions, reinforcing the belief that Elfin Forest is not merely haunted, but saturated with an active, unexplainable force. Elfin Forest's haunting is not limited to nightfall. Daylight provides little comfort, as the dense canopy casts long shadows that twist and shift with the sun. Trails that seemed clear moments before can become confusing or unrecognizable, and sounds are distorted by the thick undergrowth, creating an almost supernatural echo. Those who enter often feel a heightened sense of awareness, an instinctive recognition that this forest is alive in a way that transcends normal experience. Ultimately, Elfin Forest is more than a wooded expanse. It is a living repository of history, tragedy, and unexplainable phenomena. Spectral riders, glowing orbs, ghostly figures, and unseen presences remind all who wander here that some places retain memory, emotion, and power beyond human understanding. To step into Elfin Forest is to walk among shadows that refuse to vanish, to hear whispers that seem carried from another time, and to feel the persistent gaze of forces both ancient and restless. Exploring elfin forest is to confront the unknown, to recognize that beneath the canopy of oaks and amidst the winding trails, something watches, remembers, and waits. Visitors leave with a lingering sense of unease, a story etched into memory by a forest that refuses to surrender its secrets. The legends endure not just in tale, but in the tangible sensations and unexplained events that continue to unfold, ensuring that Elfin Forest remains one of California's most haunted and enigmatic woodlands. Angeles National Forest stretches across the rugged San Gabriel Mountains, offering a breathtaking escape from the urban sprawl of Los Angeles. Towering pines, shaded canyons, and winding trails draw hikers, campers, and nature enthusiasts. Yet beneath its scenic beauty lies a darker, more sinister side. This forest has long been associated with tragedy, disappearance, and the unexplained, earning a reputation as one of California's most haunted and unsettling wildernesses. The very soil seems to remember the pain and suffering that has occurred here, and visitors often report experiences that defy rational explanation. The history of Angeles National Forest is steeped in violence and loss. Countless murders, suicides, and mysterious vanishings have occurred among its trails and canyons. Hikers and campers often speak of feeling an oppressive presence, as though unseen eyes follow their every move. Some describe a creeping unease, a sense that the forest itself is alive and watching, waiting for them to stumble into its hidden dangers. The atmosphere is thick with history, and tragedy seems to linger like a shadow among the trees, coloring even the brightest days with unease. Ghostly apparitions are a common theme in reports from the forest. Visitors have described figures appearing suddenly on remote trails, sometimes fully human in form, other times vaguely shaped, fading in and out of view. These figures often vanish the moment they are approached, leaving no footprints or trace. Yet the memory of their presence lingers. Some witnesses report seeing shadowy figures standing silently on ridgelines or along narrow pathways, motionless yet unmistakably aware of those nearby. Others have experienced fleeting glimpses of individuals dressed in outdated clothing, as if travelers from a forgotten time were retracing their last steps. The forest is also known for its strange auditory phenomena. Hikers have reported hearing disembodied whispers, faint murmurs, and even eerie chanting during the dead of night. Some say the voices carry warnings, urging them to turn back before venturing too far. Others interpret them as calls from those who never returned, trapped between the living and the dead. These sounds are not always consistent. They can emerge suddenly, vanish just as quickly, and reappear elsewhere, defying natural explanation. Even seasoned outdoors people are unsettled by the unpredictable nature of these auditory encounters. Disappearance is a recurring theme in Angeles National Forest. Numerous reports exist of hikers, campers, and explorers vanishing without a trace, leaving friends and family desperate for answers. Many of these cases remain unsolved, adding to the forest's reputation as a place where people can become lost, not just physically, but perhaps spiritually. Survivors of near misses often recount being drawn off trails by a subtle compulsion, only to realize hours later that they are disoriented, deep within the forest, far from where they intended to be. Some describe the sensation of being led or stalked by something unseen, as though the forest itself manipulates those who enter too deeply. The Angeles Forest's terrain seems to amplify the supernatural. Narrow ravines, steep inclines, and dense underbrush create pockets of isolation, perfect for the mind to imagine and for spirits to linger. Fog frequently rolls in unexpectedly, reducing visibility and distorting familiar trails. Shadows stretch unnaturally among the trees, and the wind can carry sounds from distant ridges, making footsteps, voices, and rustling leaves seem far closer than they are. Campers have reported waking to cold spots, sudden drafts, even in clear weather. Electronics often fail in these areas, adding to the sense that the forest resists human intrusion and observation. Some hikers report more active interactions with the unseen. Ghostly hands tug at backpacks, whispers call their names, and footsteps mirror their own on empty trails. Others describe glimpses of shadowy figures moving in rhythm with the terrain, appearing at the edge of vision, only to vanish when looked at directly. Some paranormal investigators suggest the forest retains the emotional energy of the countless tragedies that have occurred here, manifesting as apparitions, sounds, and sensations that interact with those sensitive to the supernatural. Despite or perhaps because of its ominous reputation, Angeles National Forest continues to draw adventurers, paranormal enthusiasts, and curious explorers. The natural beauty is undeniable. Scenic vistas, clear streams, and abundant wildlife coexist alongside the darker phenomena. The juxtaposition of beauty and terror enhances the forest's mystique, making it a place of fascination for those willing to confront the unknown. Many return home with stories that defy explanation, of shadowy figures glimpsed in passing, of whispers heard in the quiet hours, or of a sense of being guided or warned by something unseen. The forest seems to act as a living record of its history. Every trail, canyon, and ridge carries echoes of those who suffered or vanished here. Witnesses consistently report a heaviness in the air, an almost tangible tension that grows deeper the further they venture from roads and populated areas. Ghostly figures, disembodied voices, and a sensation of being watched reinforce the idea that Angeles National Forest is more than a collection of trees and rocks. It is a place where the living and the unseen coexist, where memory and energy intertwine, and where every step may bring one closer to the forest's long-held secrets. Angeles National Forest stands as a testament to both the allure and the danger of the natural world. It is a place where breathtaking scenery coexists with lingering spirits, where every bend in a trail or slope in the canyon can reveal both beauty and terror. Ghostly apparitions, mysterious chanting, unexplained disappearances, and the persistent sensation of being followed ensure that those who enter are never truly alone. The forest holds its secrets tightly, offering glimpses only to those who dare to walk its shadowed trails and confront the presence that lingers in its depths. To venture into Angeles National Forest is to walk among echoes of the past, to sense the unseen watching silently from the trees, and to feel the weight of countless untold tragedies pressing gently against the present. It is a forest alive with memory, energy, and spectral presence, a place where the beauty of the San Gabriel Mountains is inseparable from its dark, haunting spirit. Those who enter may never see the full truth, but they will feel it, lingering long after they leave the shadowed trails behind. And so, we leave behind 25 haunted forests of California, though perhaps they never truly let us go. Each grove, each shadowed trail, each whisper in the branches carries with it the weight of history and haunting. Whether it is the restless spirits of miners, the echoes of curses, or something far older than mankind, the forests remember. If you ever find yourself beneath California's trees, take care. Listen to the wind, watch the fog, and never ignore the feeling that you are being followed. Because here, in the dark heart of the forest, you are never alone. Thank you, my friends, for walking with me tonight. Until next time, keep your lanterns close, your courage closer, and may the shadows treat you kindly.